The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, horror folks. If you're anything like me, and hey, why the hell wouldn't you want to be somebody like me? You're a real fan of German expressionistic horror. And as such, I just found out today that at San Diego Comic-Con, they have just revealed two figures that NECA will be putting out later this year. One of them is German expressionistic. The other one is classic American horror, I guess you could say. The first one, of course, is Nosferatu. Of course, these are done in their stunning black, white, gray complexion with a variety of heads, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Go on to bloodydisgusting.com if you want to check it out, or if you have the app, click onto that, take a look for yourself. The other figure they have coming out is, of course, Lon Chaney Sr.'s London After Midnight. Now, of course, the movie can't be found anywhere. It looks like all prints have been destroyed. Maybe there's one out there, who knows? But from the source material that they've taken, this looks absolutely faboo, I gotta tell you. And these are gonna find a place on my shelf, I can guarantee you that. And there's no release date as of now, but at some point later this year, they will be coming out. Once again, check it out on bloodydisgusting.com or click on their app if you have it. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 573 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein. Also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau. I'm trying to get the camera going here. What the fuck is going on? All right, here we go. There. Now I got the right fucking button. All right. And also from Casa de Negative Zero in the attic, in the upper level. We are all here, and, three of us. Yeah, that's all of us. And we are going to talk about a movie. That movie is Beau is Afraid. So I hope everybody brought their mommy issues this week, because we're gonna get deep and heavy into them, and talk about the latest film from Ari Aster. So, all right, Raven Shadow, look at you. Look at you, all up close and personal.
Chilling, baby. I'm up on your grill and shit, baby. I'm down by the bar. Chilling.
The bar.
The bar?
The bar.
Down with the bar, the bar. Bar with the bar.
In the smoking section, in case you don't know.
Ba-ba?
That's how we do. The ba-ba. The ba-ba section, baby. Yeah.
Baba Black Lung.
I love that fucking children's story.
Baba Black Lungs.
Yeah, that's good.
Take it easy, dude.
He likes that.
It was funny. It was funny. It was funny. That was good.
Baba Black Lungs, have you when you smoke?
I'm going to call Joey Trump. I'm going to write that later on this week.
2 lungs full.
Here, take a toke.
Smoke another while you got it.
Perhaps I'm sending the wrong message.
Oh, you've been sending... Raven Shadow, your fucking tagline is sending the wrong message since 77. Or 76,
Yeah.
sorry.
76.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
that's right.
76.
Don't
Well, it was funny, I was
underestimate.
at the shop. I was at the shop last Monday, and I was talking to a retail brother, and I heard my name in the background, and I'm like, "What's up?" And like, "Oh, Raven Shadow, we were just talking. If anybody on staff would know what it's like to drink the worm, like from tequila, it's probably you." And I'm like, "Ah, perhaps I'm sending the wrong message."
We were just wondering what it was like to drink the dirt and grass from Mama Juana. Raven
Oh,
Shadow must
man.
know.
Oh God, I remember that.
That shit was fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Smoothest shit I have ever drank in my life. No lie.
Somehow blackish Dominican liquor fermenting in a sauce of like rocks and leaves. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
Who
Jesus.
knew? Mama Juana.
Yeah, it's
Who would think that shit up, man?
I think we've talked about it before, but just in case people aren't aware, it's a Dominican beverage that our brother from the DR, Double D, introduced to the guys.
Yeah.
And
that's
you
the
got
best
shit
thing.
faced after 2 shots of that stuff too.
And I think
Yeah.
the working man passed out on Double D's like what do you call it? Picnic table outside that night.
I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Well, but then again, I forgot about a lot of things that night. I couldn't remember much.
Oh, Raven Shadow, Marion has a question for you. She says, "What's it like to drink a cigarette butt from a beer by mistake?" Raven Shadow.
Oh, it sucks, bro. It sucks, dude. I drank the butt bottle several times
The butt
when
bottle?
I went. Yeah,
The
bro.
butt bottle. Very good.
That sucks. Especially in UMass Amherst. I didn't matriculate there. I went to a lot of parties in the late '90s, and yeah, when you'd be in the dorm room, and you would have like an ingenious. Is that a word? Ingenious.
Yep.
Yes.
Ingenious ideas. There was a big gimmick where you could take like fabric softener to blow like your bong hits. There's a whole fucking thing. Marion knows. But yeah, definitely when you have the butt bottle in the middle of the night, you go drink it like, oh, it sucks, man. It's not
Butt
good.
bottle.
And you know right away that you're drinking the butt bottle. Like, oh, fuck. And you gotta run.
You're like Spalding from Caddyshack,
Yeah.
where he's at the park. He's pounded down the remaining liquor that's in any of the glasses, and he pounds down one of them, this cigarette in there, and he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
And he just hurls in somebody's brand new Porsche.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely set some hair on fire inadvertently. That sucks. Yeah,
Hey, it happened.
not good. That's not good.
I want a hamburger. No, I want a cheeseburger. No, I want a hot dog. No, I want a
You're
milkshake.
never gonna like it.
Yeah. Judge Trails.
The great Ted Knight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude's fucking awesome.
Spalding, get your foot off the boat.
Oh shit! Angry Towns was hanging out. He says evening all. Evil Corny is hanging out. He says, "What did Double D do to y'all?"
We used to be normal before that.
Yeah, before Mama, like we should do it before and after. Before Mama Wanna, after Mama Wanna.
No, I think Double D just enhanced some things, but yeah, I think the working man from NCW passed out on a bench. It was hard times. That was a good
hard
night.
times,
also-
Daddy-o.
And Bob, he choke slammed me onto the floor.
Oh,
I
Who?
remember that.
Who? Raven Shadow's buddy Bob,
yeah,
Bob,
the big Bob, Superman Bob.
big Bob.
Yeah,
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 big
yeah.
Bob.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bob was
he choke slammed me right on the.
Big Bob was my heavy. He was my dude. He was
Yeah.
my diesel.
You know what's funny? Sorry, just quick aside. Not that we ever do that, but about Bob actually, about Raven Shadow's buddy Bob. So when I met Tanya, like we've been together almost 10 years now, like coming up on 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when I met her, she showed me a picture of Ozzy, her dog, at PetSmart with Santa
Oh!
Claus, and
Oh,
Bob
no.
was fucking Santa Claus. I'm like, holy fucking shit! I know that guy. And then
That's so funny.
yeah, isn't it? And then funny
Yeah.
enough, like maybe in next year or within a year of like having met Tanya, we went to PetSmart to just get some stuff for Ozzy, and like I saw him there. I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Because I guess he used to work at PetSmart, and so he would do
Yeah,
the
he did.
Santa thing. Yeah.
He did. Yeah, I would run into him every now and again when I was, picking up ferret food or buying a ferret or whatever. But yeah, I remember seeing him working there. Sure, he was the manager, I think.
Yeah. I just thought that
think
was
it was the-
hilarious, like completely out of context. I didn't know he worked there, and I'm looking at like a picture of, at the time I don't think I had even I don't know if I had met Ozzy or I just met him, but I was looking at a picture. She showed me a picture, and I'm like, I fucking know that dude. What the fuck? Just so weird, right?
Because
Oh,
he was
Bob.
he's a dog whisperer. Like he had
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah.
gimmicks with that.
Yeah, I saw he would do the training. We almost actually brought Ozzy to do training there, but yeah, so it was kind of funny. I realized that later on it all made sense.
That's so funny, yeah. Because I mean, Bob was rolling with us for a while. He was there for the legendary when we were promoting the multiverse
the multiverse
show.
show, yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah,
That's right.
He wore
He had the what
The-
mask? Riddler.
the Riddler mask. He had the Jim Carrey Riddler mask and that like knockoff like Get Edge's trench coat on Wish
Yeah.
that I had. And he was doing that. So yeah. He even trained Ollie for a couple of hours, and then we ended up smoking and stopped. So
Oh, it all makes sense now.
so if you hear Ollie's yelling in the background, that's probably why.
Yeah.
But he was a good brother. I did lose him in the divorce, unfortunately. But
I
but
see.
we had he joined the team for a while, and he's the one that I tried to give him a Bronco Buster, and then he threw me into the brick wall of the manor.
As you do.
Well, I thought he put me over, but no, he threw me into the brick wall, and I'm glad I put my hands up because that would have been bad.
Oh, it's funny. Evil Corny says, my neighbor used to have a moonshine connection, and I was offered some and felt like the human touch till the next day. Oh, I think he means torch, right?
Oh, Human Torch. Yeah.
Or the human touch. I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah. Now, Corny, you talking Chris Evans or Michael B. Jordan?
Ooh, wow. I was gonna get nerd for you, talking about either Johnny Storm or Jim Hammond, the fucking android Human Torch.
The Android Human Torch. Wow. I'm not
Yeah, the
familiar
original
with
one.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original. Okay, yeah.
The original one, yeah. You see, is in the first Captain America, when they do like the World's Fair, you actually see his android in like a glass like tube. So somehow he was a robot, but he was called the Human Torch. I didn't write it. You know what I'm saying?
You sure?
I didn't. No, I wouldn't do that. And it was funny. They brought him back a couple years later, and he grew a beard. And some of the Avengers were like, "How you growing a beard, bro? You're an android." He's like, "Rogaine," and that was the scene. And it was kind of funny.
Wow.
Made me chuckle.
Fall.
Unbelievable. Well, so for those watching live, we did start not as late as last week, but we did start a little late. We had some stuff to discuss about next week's show, which I think we have pretty much squared away. So I'll be talking a little bit about next week's show very shortly, but we're probably going to truncate the intro a little bit because we have the 11-year anniversary next week, and we're most likely going to be up a little late next week. So I think we'll just kind of try to have a kind of a low key episode. I think we typically try to do that the week before a big milestone show. So I think we're gonna try to do that. And so we'll kind of shoot the shit for a few more minutes. Then we're gonna talk about Beau is Afraid as our film discussion, and then if we have any voice messages, we'll play those in the last bit of the show. If you guys are listening live, or if you're listening to tape after the fact, you can send a voice message to podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Leave your thoughts about the film this week, Beau is Afraid, or it could be about films we've done in the recent past, or any old thing. I mean, we just love to hear from you guys, so you can talk about anything. It could be something that was discussed on last week's show, recent shows, the distant past, like whatever. If you listen to an old episode and something jumped out at you, feel free. Or you know what, like San Diego Comic-Con is going on. MZ talked about a lot of the some of the NECA figures, and if something's exciting you, you want to talk about it, go ahead, shoot us that voice message, or if you found a movie, because what we do on here is we typically do VOD. Like today we're doing a theatrical release, but this is, we've done Ari Aster's films, and want to keep doing his films. He's an interesting filmmaker. But for the most part, we do mostly VOD stuff. But if you saw something in the theater, if you saw a VOD that no one's talking about, that we haven't talked about, that you think more people need to know about, or I don't know, like new music, any old thing at all, just send in that voice message and let us know. We love hearing from you guys. We talk about stuff that we dig, but we also like hearing about stuff that you guys dig. So, as always, feel free to send that in.
And maybe you're behind a little bit. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe you're not caught up. Maybe life gets in the way. And maybe you hear something just because it's been, a few weeks in the past. Don't feel you can't interject that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolute. So
yeah.
So please send us those voice messages and at any time. So
Lecca, please.
And speaking of sending, I was sent today an envelope from one of our listeners from the future, Tim Chuma.
From the future.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, from Tim Chuma right here. He sent me some pictures. He sent me some of his artwork. And I think I just thought, I just want to share it with you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back. So anyway, I got the fan blowing on me over here, so hopefully it's not going to be wavering too much. But anyway, here is a picture. Wait. Is this the right way?
As Raven Shadow walks away, he's trying to show us.
Yeah, right? Nice. Real good. What I got here is a picture of Parker laying on his back, all twisted and his tongue hanging out.
Yep, I see that.
That's pretty much what he looks like too. I mean, that's pretty much it. Raven Shadow's gonna miss out. I don't believe.
Unfucking believable.
Unbelievable.
Actually, it's very believable.
Yeah, it's highly believable.
Yeah.
In fact, it's practically expected. And here is. Let's see, where is this? How's this? Yeah, this is he did a drawing of a picture that was taken of me sitting on the floor with Parker by my side and two of my cats sitting on me. So there's this.
Oh yeah.
And this one especially is kind of like really liked because it has like a Picasso like vibe to it in a way. And this one, believe it or not, this one is going to get framed. So this one's going to be hanging on the wall. And Raven Shadow, you know what, the hell with it. If Raven Shadow
fuck him. He missed the art.
right
it's fine.
Fucking here. I saw the art.
No, it's too late now.
I saw the art.
You couldn't have seen the art.
Okay. Well, he might have seen the yacht.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and here's one that I don't think needs any explanation. You just see it for yourself, and you'll know. Raven Shadow, you might want to take a special, particular interest in this.
Get
one.
up close.
Wow. Huh.
What? Why did he send that to you? That's an awfully
It's-
big banana.
It's a giant banana next to Raven Shadow dressed as Freddie fucking Mercury. Where the fuck are the chicks?
What? Well, wait. There's a lot to unpack in that.
Yeah, there is. Let's not unpack it.
let's keep it for somebody
Yeah.
else. No, I'm always flattered when
That's for other
Australian
people.
when an Australian man draws me in sadomasochistic Zardoz. Who was fucking James Bond? Zardoz in Zardar's garb, with a blindfold.
But this isn't out of Zardoz, dude. This isn't out of Zardoz. This is out of, obviously, this is taken out of Let My Puppets Come.
Obviously.
A 1976 porno movie that featured puppets, and one of the characters looks like Raven Shadow done up in leather straps.
I can't believe you didn't know that right away, Raven Shadow. Come on.
You know what? I'm the asshole.
Yeah.
No, I love when men draw me with a BYC. You know what I mean? A big yellow cock. That's very flattering.
Be thankful he didn't draw MZ with those DSLs nearby.
Oh, that's a different.
Yeah.
The 11-year anniversary.
Believe me, we're going to be bringing up my anatomy at some point during this review.
Oh, boy.
Whoa!
I can't wait.
If you know, you know. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, the sack. Oh yeah.
The sack. Raven Shadow watched the movie. Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey.
I totally thought I saw a fucking Joaquin Phoenix ball sack.
Well, let's wait. Let's wait until
He's
he gets.
he's a
review.
he's a BSO squared Raven Shadow. Butt show off and ball show off.
Yeah, sack show off.
Sack show off SSO.
I want some sack show off healing. Yeah,
Jesus. Oh man.
it's gonna be good.
So anyway, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Some of that art will make it on the wall. I promise.
He's such a brother. I've actually the image of him drawing me in the first bondage gear is a big hit when I have parties over here.
When you
I
have
was
parties.
showing I was showing some of my retail brothers and sisters. I'm like, yeah, this guy Tim is pretty dope. He draws me in fucking leather. And they like that.
Who doesn't?
I mean, I don't show
right?
my
I mean,
parents. I don't show my parents.
Why would you?
But you know.
I'll show your parents.
So Corny said that he'd rather be Chris Evans, Human Torch.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah.
And he asked, is the Raven Cave the new lair of lost swag?
We don't know. We're working on some things right now. There's a lot of things with complex molecular structures. We're not sure yet, but we're seeing what happens.
And let's see. Oh, Rocky's hanging out. He says, I got your hairy android torch right here, your robot humping grease stains.
What a beautiful sediment to
Did you say
Leave on.
sediment?
what a beautiful sediment. That's a great sediment that they have.
It is
Sediment.
great. It is a great sediment.
Yeah. What's that great pastry company? Sentiments? Ediments.
Sentiments.
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 Sentiments. Entiments.
Yeah, Entiments.
Oh, God.
The fucking raspberry strudel.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
That's fucking dope, bro.
The cheese Danish.
Yeah, cheese. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the shit right there.
cheese Danish is fucking good.
Yeah, motherfucker.
You guys get really hyped about that.
I'm fucking aroused right now.
Jesus. All right,
Dude,
so
you're aroused. You should feel these nipples.
All right, so trying to keep this succinct, but I want to see if there's anything else I wanted to bring up this week.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Go for it.
So we have to be along on this, but so the writers' strike and the actors strike is going on right now, right?
Yes, yep.
Solidarity, a lot of stuff. Mark Ruffalo's coming out. There's a great promo.
Oh, he's coming
by,
out?
Coming out of the booth. He's ready to fucking throw down, brother.
Did you see Ron Perlman?
Oh, brother.
He's going to throw down.
Oh, God.
Ron Perlman's he's gonna hurt somebody. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna get arrested.
He can do it too. And he can do it too.
Worried about that because that could be evidence. Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, there's a lot of ways someone can lose their home. Maybe it's money. Maybe they're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't know their names, but you know what? Maybe we do, motherfucker.
Did you guys hear who he was referring to?
It probably some big, Disney. Is it the Warner Brothers?
Yeah. No, it's supposedly Bob Iger from Disney.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From Disney.
Really?
Because he just got a new deal to stick around till like 2026, I think. And I think the amount that Ron Perlman said in his video was the same amount that he got per year or something like that. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't want to get too into it because I know that it could be something, like a spiral. And we want to keep this succinct, but yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like I saw the median salary for someone in SAG-AFTRA. So what that means is like you have like the top, I want to say it's like 80% of the members of SAG are people who make less than $26,000 a year. So they do not qualify for benefits and health benefits and stuff. So, and that's like extras, people who are working in like small roles, TV, whatever. Like they're not the stars, so to speak. And then you have on the other end of things, you have like your Tom Cruises and, whatever, like your Rocks who are making multi-million-dollar deals per film. But so if you take that huge extreme, and then if you take the median, apparently it's $68,000 is the median average salary of someone in SAG-AFTRA.
Wow.
So I mean it's a decent salary, but you're taking into account people at the top make millions, like every movie, and they do multiple movies a year. So they're in the 50s to maybe 200 million range, depending on how much work they get in a year. Yeah, go ahead, Rancho.
So here's my question about that. So I know not everyone loves this, but we talk about wrestling once in a while. So is the strike gonna impact WWE? Because to my understanding, they've been using actually writers for many years, even at the end of the Attitude Era. Unlike, say, like I'm saying AEW, Jericho's, he's Federation, not his, but Tony Khan's Federation. That Tony Khan, as the booker, will say, okay, do this, and they come up with their own shit. But my understanding is WWE has been writers for some time. Do you think that's going to change Raw, SmackDown, and the wrestling world? Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and I don't think it will.
Really?
I mean, honestly, I don't watch WWE. I haven't watched WWE in a while. AEW is all Tony Khan. Like, he literally is the creative force, and he has some people he bounces ideas off of, like Bryan Danielson, and like, there's other people that do creative, who will throw ideas. But a lot of it's the wrestlers come up with some ideas, and then whatever. So there's a lot more freedom there. But you're right. Like WWE has like writers, and like for instance, like Freddie Prinze Jr. used to be a fucking writer for WWE. And he is an actor. So the thing is, I don't know. I mean, WGA, the Writers Guild, has been on strike for weeks now.
Yeah.
So if it affected, it would have already affected them, and they're still going forward. So I mean, it's nice to have writers, but I think that I don't think they don't have to be in the Writers Guild to be part of WWE. They're like contractors, you know.
Oh, so that was my question. Like, how they're writing television?
Actually, let me say I'm not positive. I think if they're like the talent, like the wrestlers, then they would be contracted. Not positive if what their deals are, but I think the writers actually might be employees for WWE, so that might be different. They might actually be like salaried employees as opposed to contractors. But,
Okay, and not being part of the guild. It was a thought I
Right.
had when I was driving home today. I was listening to Talk is Jericho, like I normally do. I'm like, I wonder. Like, my thought was like, would they go back to the old days when they would let the talent create their own
no.
storylines?
That will
As
never
opposed
happen.
to-
Ever
Not
again.
WWE. Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah, okay, fair. I thought it was maybe relevant to what we like some a little bit, and fair.
You know, because the writers know more than the wrestlers when it comes to wrestling.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean it's still TBD to know how long it's going to go, how much it'll affect the industry. But the point I was trying to make is the median salary is $68,000 a year. That's the median salary for someone in SAG-AFTRA. And Bob Iger makes over $70,000 a day.
What a fucking douche.
Dude
Yeah.
makes in one single day what like most actors make in a year. So, and for him to say that is absolutely insane if it was in fact him. To talk about people lose. Oh yeah, we're gonna like drag the strike on until people start losing their homes. Because then they'll be willing to make a deal and make concessions to make the industry better. Like fuck you. And
I
also,
fucking hate Disney, man. I fucking hate Disney. I've always hated Disney.
yeah, I was gonna say I know you've always been like that. So
Yeah. I'm so fucking anti-Disney. It's sickening.
the other thing I'll just mention quick, and then we'll move on is oh shit, I forget what it was now. It's something about the strike. But I mean, there's so many different like elements to it that like I also saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody posted their residual check, or like not it wasn't a copy of their check, but basically said this is what I made for residuals for the month for a somewhat popular show, and it was like dollars. They made dollars.
Yeah.
And like it's just insane. Like these streaming services, the thing is they can hide the numbers. I saw John Cusack say that the studio who released, I don't remember which studio it was, but the studio that released Say Anything says that they lose money on the movie every single year. So they can't pay out residuals because they lose money every year on the movie. How is that fucking possible? There's no marketing. There's nothing that goes into the movie's out there. Word of mouth, people know about it, and they say they lose money, so they don't pay residuals. It's just like, and that's the thing with streaming is that there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no third party. Whereas box office receipts, there's a third party because it's the theaters are saying, oh, this is how much this made, and they release it. But with streaming stuff, it's a lot of it's internal, so they can be like, oh yeah, well like they could fudge the numbers and no one will fucking know, right?
Right. Far be it from Hollywood to have creative accounting.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is, like, the film industry should have saw this coming because it's been affecting the music industry for years,
Yeah, that's funny. Wow, that's interesting.
And so, like, I mean, it's funny. I actually saw this yesterday. I didn't know about this, but out of all the like music services where you can stream music, take a wild guess which one pays out the most. Just a guess. If you don't know it's fine. No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Get this. The one that pays out the most per stream, fucking Napster.
I was saying Napster. Oh shit!
What?
Can you
Really?
believe that?
Are you
Out of
shitting me?
out of all the fucking ones, like Napster got the most shit back in the day with Metallica because people could download
Yeah.
stuff for free, but now they're the ones that pay out the most. Whereas other ones like Spotify, Apple Music, and all these others pay. I mean, it's not much.
Wow.
It's like 0.002 more or something like that. You know, but
I had no idea they were even still around.
I
Me either.
honestly didn't either.
That's funny, and it's funny too. Like, I mean, like I do use Pandora. Thank you, Marion, for turning me on to that. But the shit I listen to are music that I've already bought. You know, that's the shit I like for the most part. I like, you know, I listen to fucking Motorhead radio. I listen to fucking Priest radio. Um, you know, it's stuff that I've already. I don't know, but you're right. Like music has gotten fucked for a long fucking time, and it seems like the only way these artists can make some money is from being on tour and doing the fucking gimmick table, selling merch.
Yeah, and I'm actually not sure. I mean, I didn't fact check the article either, so it's not like I know like
Sure.
that it is. But in looking at it, so Napster actually, let's see, it went bankrupt, and it was acquired by a company called Roxio in 2008. So it does have a history. It's not the original Napster. I think it's actually changed hands a couple times. But in 2022, it says Napster was sold to HiveMind and Algorand. The investor consortium also includes ATC, I don't know, a bunch of other shit. So it looks like the name's changed hands a bunch. So who fucking knows? But yeah, if that is in fact true, that's just kind of fucking ironic that they pay out the most.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the thing is like, I mean, how do you, I mean, I get it. Like the thing is you can kind of game the system because, you could have like, for instance, to make money, you could set up like bots or, you know, just even like a fucking server farm to just play your music on like endless amounts of computers or devices to make money, right? Like you could game the system. So I don't know how they prevent that, but maybe that's why the prices are so low, because they're like, yeah, well, you know, if we're getting millions of listens a day, we can't pay out that kind of money. You know, so I don't know how they regulate that. But it's crazy. I mean, to get like 0.0002 cents per listen or something like that is just insane, you know?
It's embarrassing.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's and infuriating, and just about every other thing you can think of.
Yeah. I think honestly, like, and I haven't thought this through, it just kind of came to mind, but if there was like a tiered system, like if you get 1 million listens a month or something like that, you should, you know, like get bumped up to another level or something like that. You know, like for instance, just some, you know, local garage band who puts something out on Spotify probably shouldn't make the same amount per listen as Metallica or whatever, you know, like I forget her name. What's that?
Swift.
Taylor Swift. That's exactly what I was trying to think. She's like the biggest artist. Like, you know, I understand like maybe that creates an inequality, but you know, maybe there should be tiers or something like that. But that's not for us to figure out. Evil Corny says, I use Spotify and will buy a vinyl copy of something if I like it. Yeah. I think what it comes down to now, there's such a paradigm shift that like streaming music is where it's at. But if you really like a band, there's other ways you can support them, you know, buy merch, go buy, and buy it from their site. Don't do it at venues.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah. Cause
venues?
There's a lot of shit now where venues are charging ridiculous fees for bands to sell shirts.
Yeah.
To the point where they're
really?
barely making money on merchandise. Yeah.
And that's not even counting the cut that they want. That's not even counting the cut that they want.
Right.
They want to add the fees and then take their cut.
Yeah. So a lot of bands actually aren't even selling merch anymore at shows. They say just go to our website.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
bands
I
are
made
getting raked over the coals for live shows.
That's fucked up. I mean, I just saw I mentioned last week my old childhood best friend and I we saw Steel Panther this past Sunday
Mhm.
at Foxwoods local casino, well in Connecticut, and I made a point to buy some merch. You know, the tickets were fairly decent. It was ended up being like it was like a $35 ticket, but it ended up being like $50 with all the
All the fucking
convenience
fees.
charges.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
But still, I feel for that level of a band, that's still a decent dollar
Not too
amount.
bad. Not too bad.
And they had
nowadays, yeah. If you go for a show for 50 or under, like nowadays, that's pretty decent.
right, and that's with the air quotes convenience fees.
Right, which is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. We didn't have
Junk
that back in the day.
Fucking junk.
But I feel okay. That was reasonable. You know, the bar. All right, fine. They had $9 beers. Whatever. It's been worse. But I bought a T-shirt. It was a $40 T-shirt. You know,
They probably had to
not
bump the price up so they make a little bit, you know.
no shit. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And my gut is that well, I'll buy a shirt from the show because it's them.
Right.
I
That's
figured it
that's
was
what
their-
you think, and that's how I've done the same exact thing. Because, I mean, even before I was streaming, like I use Apple Music, so I pay for Apple Music every month. But even before then, I would try to buy albums, but I was like streaming stuff, or back in the Napster days doing that. For a while,
Right.
I was downloading torrents, but I would always try to kind of like try to pay it back on the other end of things. Like if I go see a band, I would buy a shirt or something
Wow.
along those lines, or if it's a band I really like, I will buy, even though I'm not going to listen to the vinyl or the CD, might just buy it anyways just to support,
I have a collectible item. You could frame it. You
Yeah.
could have it.
Yeah.
You could do this artwork. Wow, that's interesting. That's something to know moving forward. Because part of the gimmick, I think most of us, going to see rock shows, you see a show, you buy a T-shirt. And I had a fucking dope ass collection of rock shirts from the late '90s, bro. I had fucking every show. I never wore the shirts going to it. Didn't want to be that guy, but I bought a shirt when I left. But yeah, if I want to buy is that the move? Either go on the website or go to Hot Topic.
Well, I don't know about Hot Topic. I mean, I would say just go to the websites because
Buy
it's going
directly.
right, it's going right
Okay.
to the band. Yeah.
All right, yeah,
And they
fuck
can
it.
set their
All right.
prices the way that they want. I bet if you looked like a Steel Panther, like if you looked at their website and saw the same shirt, like there's a possibility it might sell for cheaper on their website or something. So, yeah, I'm not
That's
saying
funny.
I'm not saying don't buy merch from
Right.
shows. Maybe some bands have been able to negotiate a better deal, but for the most part, I've seen a lot of bands saying, just buy it from our website. We try to carry merch so people can get it, but we don't really make much money off of it at the shows. So,
Wow. Okay.
all right, well let's move on because
right.
we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about with streaming stuff and bands and all that, but I'm sure it's something that will come up again. But I want to talk about next week, because next week is the 11-year anniversary, and we finally have a format in place for the show. We still are. We talked about the format. The thing we just have to figure out is nail down the Patreon specials that weekend. Yes. So let's we'll figure that out and message that out to you guys as soon as possible. But we do have the plan for next week's show for the 11-year anniversary. On Thursday, July 27th, we have 3 things that we're going to be doing. We're not doing a film discussion per se. There will be some bonus homework to do if you want to, for folks out there. But we're not doing a proper film discussion. But next week we are going to kick the show off. I think we're kicking it off right at the beginning of the show with an old friend, someone who hasn't been on the show in a little bit, maybe at least a couple of years, I think. But he's been on milestone shows before. He's a really fucking great dude, and he's kind of becoming a bit of a star now, a bit more of a star. He was featured in, let's see, what's the name of that documentary? Fuck.
Jodorowsky's Dune?
Well, I mean, yes, that's not the one I'm thinking of, but yes, he produced that. It's 1982 Greatest Geek Year Ever. Have you guys heard about this yet?
Oh, shit. Yeah, Corny was doing that's on what's on that on FX?
C-Dub.
C-Dub. So C-Dub. Yeah.
So, anyways, he is featured in that as one of the people that gets interviewed, and he is an awesome fucking dude, producer, filmmaker, and he's doing his debut, his directorial debut is dropping tomorrow on Shudder, and the name of that is Sharksploitation. Our boy Steven Scarlatta is going to be joining us next week to talk all about Sharksploitation. So that's the homework. Check out Sharksploitation. It's dropping on Shudder on July 21st. It's tomorrow as of this recording. So give that a look. Check it out. I know, MZ, you must be psyched to see this, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you love your shark films. You love Jaws and, and all the other sort of films that spawned from that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm no patsy, but
fair.
But I do.
The person or the term. Because if you're talking about the person, then yeah. But maybe you could be a patsy. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So check out Sharksploitation. It's going to be on Shudder, and Stevie Scarlatta is going to join us next week to talk about it and just to fucking catch up on everything. The dude's awesome. He has a really fucking awesome podcast. He's in 1982 Greatest Geek Year Ever. I was checking it out. I watched the first episode, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, I told Tanya, I'm like, "I know that guy. It's my buddy."
We talked to him. Yeah.
What is this on?
CW. If you don't have CW, has a free app. So you can watch it. They just have commercials, I think. But that's how I watch it because I don't have cable. So just if you want to download the CW app, or if you have cable, you can watch it on CW. I don't know. I guess it'd be on VOD. On the app, it's VOD. You can watch it whenever you want. So it's the 1982 Greatest Geek Year Ever, and they cover. The first episode is a lot of Spielberg because, Poltergeist, sure. E.T., stuff like that. But then they start talking about some, toys and, and just various other things on it. I've only watched the first episode, but 1982 was a fucking amazing year for film. It was ridiculous.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of the premise behind it. And Steven, if you want to check out his podcast, they're on hiatus right now, but Steven, his podcast with Josh Miller is the best movies never made, and they talk about basically lost films and movies that were in production hell and never got made. Really fucking great show, and he does it with Josh Miller, who's a screenwriter. He wrote Sonic the Hedgehog. What else has Josh done?
Oh shit.
He's on. Josh is also in the documentary as well, Greatest Geek Year Ever. But Josh has written. Oh, he wrote Violent Night as well. That's right. He wrote Violent Night, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, and he's done some other stuff leading up to that. But in upcoming, he's working on the sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So
shit, a Sonic fucking show. Who saw that coming?
I know, right?
When they were doing
the trilogy.
When they were doing all the rewrites, oh shit, people were fucking worried about
the way
Sonic's
it looked?
fucking face.
About how he looked. Yeah, the eyes were completely wrong.
Yeah, they went spend a bunch of money on the fucking reshoots, but I haven't seen it because I'm fucking 46 years old. But
so?
It seemed to do well. Well, yeah, I know it's fun.
I just started watching She-Ra and the Princess of Power. It's fucking awesome. It's a cartoon.
All right.
Watch it.
We're going to watch that Sunday.
We're watching that
me and Mary.
with Tanya, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Like in She-Ra, the dude who had the fucking mustache. Is he in that? The new one?
Yeah, see, what's his name?
Lionheart, somebody Braveheart.
See something. Seahart, or I don't know. Like, he's the sailor guy, right? Is that who you
That's
mean?
Popeye. Or Shipwreck.
Jesus
But
Christ.
no, there was with She-Ra, there was the one chick or two chicks in He-Man. Well, three chicks. You had Sorceress Tila and Eva Lynn. But in the She-Ra cartoon, there was like one dude who totally had a PM, a porno mustache, a la Bandit, and he was dope. I didn't write it. What the fuck? I don't.
Trying to think. Let's see. I'm looking it up. I can't remember the character's name. Something.
I think it was somebody Steelheart, something with heart. I think heart. I think he had like a heart, like chest protector, like D'Lo Brown. I think.
All right. Well, I don't know.
In the 80s. Why? Once again, what are you gonna do? But Steven Scarlatta is a good brother, good friend of ours. May have produced a movie that might have been up for an Oscar.
Well, it was shortlisted. It didn't get nominated, unfortunately. Should have, but it didn't.
I should have. All right, well, it should on the short list.
Yeah, it was shortlisted. I think it's like the 10 or 15 films they narrow it down, so it was shortlisted. But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't get there. It should have, but yeah. So Steven Scarlatta is going to join us next week to kick off the show or near the beginning. I'm not sure if it's going to be right to kick off, but that's the plan as of now. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is listening on YouTube and says hello from Japan. Hello, Yoshinobu.
Oh, konnichiwa.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Marion said hello to Yoshinobu in the chat, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yoshinobu. We are MZ used to do what was your little thing? Like number reasons why I love Japan. You used to do that all the time.
Yeah. Haven't done that in a while. I don't know what's going on. Japan's in a lull.
Evil Corny
But yeah.
Evil Corny says C. Thomas Howell. Ha ha. SEA C. Thomas Howell. You get it? All right, so continuing on, kicking it off with Steven Scarlatta. If that's not awesome enough, afterwards, the next segment, we will be doing. I don't know how this is gonna go. This is the first time we've ever done this, and we're still working out the parameters. But we're gonna be doing a table read. We, the three of us. I think I didn't tell these guys about it, so I'll hold off. I think I have a fourth for us. And I think we're going to ask for some help from listeners and Patreon supporters. Patreon supporters get first priority to send in lines because there's going to be more than just 3 or 4 actors. So we might need people to do some lines. Whoa, that sounds weird.
Yeah, boy, it's a celebration.
Yeah, so you get to send in a line and you get to do a line.
Oh yeah, because no one's going to work on that Friday. We're going to maybe 11 o'clock, noon, wrecked with our hair fucked up, our nose bleeding. It's gonna be awesome.
So we're gonna do a table read. You're like. Your guess is as good as mine as to how that's going to go. We don't really have we're kind of going going without a net. So we'll see how it goes, but we have the movie picked out. Do you guys want to reveal the movie or you want to hold off?
No, reveal it.
Okay.
Pull it out. Whip it out.
All right, whip it out. So we're going to be doing scenes. We're not doing the whole thing because it would take too fucking long. We're doing selected scenes from Weird Science. Because the film actually is going to be turning 38 on August 2nd, and it is collectively one of our favorite movies. And we can already quote it almost verbatim as it is. So, yeah. So it just seems to make sense. So if this goes well, we may do this again. We may do a table read again. So we will do other movies, because I did ask people to suggest movies, and there was definitely some good suggestions on the Patreon chat. But for this one, we're going to go with Weird Science. And the funny thing is, I actually found a copy of the script, and it is very different from the movie. So we may have to. I was able to find the dialogue from the movie. It's not in script form, but I have the dialogue. But yeah, I was hoping to read off the script, but the script is very different from the movie. Funny enough.
Which makes sense. I'm sure a lot of that was improv. I mean, I know listening to Anthony Michael Hall stuff, I think one of the scenes that our first go-to for quotes was a huge improv scene. You know,
Was
the
it
classic
club scene.
The club scene. You know what I mean? And that was just, what's his face? Not Cameron Crowe.
John Hughes.
John Hughes. You know, just digging Michael Anthony Hall and letting him just riff on stuff. You know, because I read that first intro, which didn't have the pantsing scene.
Right, that's not
from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of that was just the riffing of the. I mean, look at that fucking cast, bro.
So we won't get too much more into it, but I just wanted to call that out. If Patreon supporters, keep an eye on the Discord channel for Patreon supporters, or I might send something out on Patreon. I want to make sure people see it. And if you're going to send in a line, just send in to podcast@trickortreatradio.com and just put in the subject so that I can differentiate between voice messages and line submissions for the table read. So I want to get other people involved in that. And what I'll do is I'll have them all queued up, and I have my cart here. So I'll be reading the script. I probably won't take the lead roles, because I'll need to, play lines from other people. So we'll see how it goes. Could be fun though. We're going to do it live though. And we'll see how it goes. So that's part 2. That's the second part of the anniversary. The third part, we're also trying something new. We're doing a team up with the Zombie Girls. That's not new. We've done that before, but from what I understand, I think we're going to have them all. I think we're going to have 4 Zombie Girls joining us. And what we're going to do, we're currently calling it, unless someone has a better name, currently calling it the 6 Degrees of Sitcoms. Nice. So this is it will take audience participation. So we need people out there to submit questions, because we're just going to do it based on submissions from listeners. So the way I'm going to try to explain this as succinctly as possible. So you, the listener, you send in either a movie, a movie title, or a sitcom title. And do you guys want to limit the sitcoms to like 70s, 80s, 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our wheelhouse. Yeah, I can't talk about fucking, the courtship of fucking Eddie's father, which I guess I just did. But like, yeah, man, let's just 70s, 80s, early 90s.
Okay. So, and horror movies, and we'll just do any time, I guess. Like, somewhat popular, or one that we've done on the show, or something like that. So, sitcoms from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, or horror movies. That can be, it's got to be from the 70s on, because we don't want to go pre-70s, because then, if someone says Nosferatu, is going to be pretty fucking hard to connect Max Shrek to, I don't know, fucking.
Max Shrek was awesome.
He actually did an episode of Fish.
All right, well, maybe it's easier than I think, but so let's keep it from 70s on.
Yeah.
And so you can send in multiple titles. Send in horror movie titles and sitcom titles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all in a like a spreadsheet, and we're going to pick through them. And the way it's going to go is it's going to be Trick or Treat Radio versus Zombie Girls, and you get a point. The team that makes a connection in the least amount of degrees. So, for instance, I'm just going to throw one out there. This is one that we did earlier. Someone says Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, Robert Englund. Well, MZ, you had an easy one, right? Robert Englund was in Night Court, you said, right?
He was in Night Court. He was in Soap. He was in Married with Children.
So that's an easy one because it's like 1 degree. So what we want to do is we want to link a horror movie to a sitcom, and we're going to do it in 6 degrees style, and the least amount of degrees wins. So that's why we're keeping them open-ended, because if you pick actors, it might be a little bit there's less room for interpretation, you know?
Right.
But if you pick a movie, then the idea is to pick the quickest path to a sitcom, and we can pick the sitcom. So for instance, like if you send in a horror movie, let's once again say Nightmare on Elm Street, and you know what, instead of a franchise, pick a film. So let's say Dream Warriors Part 3. We have it was Patricia Arquette, right?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
So you could do Patricia Arquette, you could do Robert Englund, you could do whatever. You choose the actor or actress that you want, and then you link them to a sitcom in the quickest way possible.
Gotcha.
So that's why if you do a title, it leaves it open-ended for interpretation, and that way we might have more variance. If you pick an actor, that makes it hard. It makes it there's less room to like find a quicker path. You know what I mean? So if people out there want to play along, go ahead, just send us a list of horror movie titles and sitcoms, and we'll go through and we'll pose the question and we'll see who wins. We'll figure out like what the stakes are, if we're gonna put anything up or if it's just gonna be for fun. Maybe the loser has to wear a titty bucket or something. I don't know. So we'll figure out all the details. But with your participation, that's what we need. You can send us lists. You don't have to just send us one. You can send multiple if you want, and
sure.
Send horror movie titles and send sitcom titles from 70s, 80s, 90s, and we'll be doing that next week. So I think that should be fun. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I mean, if it's anything like the fucking Krampusnacht party, that was fucking a blast with them. So that's the 11-year anniversary. That's what we got going on. I'm sure we'll have other surprises. So for your participation, you can send in. Here's how you can participate. Listeners, send in voice messages with your pick for a horror movie or a sitcom or both. You can send them in a list form. You can send an email or you can send a voice message. If you do a voice message, just maybe if you do like a list of titles, just leave space in between them so that I can very easily like edit them if I need to. So, Nightmare on Elm Street, Family Ties, whatever, and so on and so forth. Or you can just send that. And for, if you have your own, if you want to make connections to horror movies and sitcoms, go ahead and send voice messages with that. You can do kind of your own little thing or talk about how maybe a horror movie led you to a sitcom or a sitcom led you to a horror movie. You can talk about sharksploitation films, anything related to Steven Scarlatta's documentary. If you want to even leave your thoughts on sharksploitation, you can do that. And the table read, so all that stuff's on the board. Feel free to send voice messages about any of that stuff or emails, podcast@trickortreatradio.com. All right, let's quickly blow through the rest of this because I want to start talking about this movie. So support patreon.trickortreatradio.com. If you're not already a supporter, go check it out. You can join for as little as $2 a month, and we will have some other stuff going on next weekend. We're going to do, we haven't talked about the time, but we'll do a blackout tapes, and we'll do another special, whether it's like maybe like the DJ thing we did last time, or a watch along, or something. We'll figure that out. But just make sure you're on the Patreon. You just have to be in the lowest tier. So even, $2, or if you want, you can support for more. And if you get up in the higher tier, you can go ahead and do your own Patreon takeover. So I've also touched base with the next Patreon takeover, waiting to hear back from them about what that'll be. That'll be in August. So, all right, patreon.trickortreatradio.com. Give it a look. Also, on trickortreatradio.com, you can scroll down on the main page, look for the Amazon logo, and then just go ahead and click it. It's going to bring in Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link, and then everything you purchase will get attributed to us. Doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to not give money to fucking fat cat CEOs.
Well, technically, you are giving money to a fat cat CEO, but we're getting
shit.
We're getting a little cut of it. It's like we're siphoning off a few pennies.
The Superman 3 gimmick.
Yeah, they give us table scraps. But hey, at this point, we'll take it.
Can we have some porridge, sir?
Yeah.
Can we have some soup?
Do you have any crackers, please, sir?
Yeah. Oh, we have Trick or Treat Radio. Yeah. We have crackers. That's for sure.
That's our new tagline. Oh, speaking of Double D, he's on YouTube. He says, "How is everybody?"
Boy. Hey,
what's up,
Speaking
Double D?
Of brothers.
All right, and finally, trickortreatradio.com. Click on store. Go buy the greatest hits. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel. If you want to hear some of the old stuff, go ahead and give that a look. All right, Raven Shadow. Beau is afraid. What did you do to prepare for this fucking movie?
Yo, I checked out speaking of which, getting ready for next week, I checked out the newest Zombie Girls episode of fucking the More Deadly podcast. Super dope. And the Trick or Treat Radio crew got a shout out early on. I want to say 4 or 5 minutes in. We all got name dropped. We all got over. So much obliged to Ariel and Rachel for putting us over. And check out the Zombie Girls because they're super killer, and they're going to be on next week. And the show will definitely be fucking half more sexy than it is right now. So
I think it'll be like 400 times more sexy.
It'll be a lot. I'm not good with numbers, but for this time and for next time, you better believe I strapped on.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
This is Chocolate Beast. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, but you should be eating nougat.
And we are back. Look at that. Everyone's in their seat. I love it. Raven Shadow doesn't need a break anymore.
Well, he could smoke down there now, so
I know.
He doesn't have to go anywhere.
Smoke and drink.
Yeah.
I feel like we're enabling you now, though.
Oh yeah, you're not the only one. That's fun.
All right, let's dive in. So we're going to be talking about Beau is Afraid. This film from 2023 is rated R. It is 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Fucking A. That fucking burns my ass.
Yeah, and not a superhero in sight. That's probably the only reason.
Yeah.
No, like, not every movie's gonna be fucking fighting Thanos, dog. Like, come on.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
Okay.
Not every movie is, but superhero movies for some reason are, and nobody knows why.
But no, I'm with that too. Like yes, when you're fighting Thanos, yeah, 3 hours. Did the fucking Flash have to be fucking almost 3 hours? Probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
You want to talk more about length, Raven Shadow?
Well, allow me to step back. Allow me to whip this out. No.
All right, so yeah, it's a long one, and I mean, films were long before superhero movies. I mean, what?
That's fine. You know what? Weird Science, an hour and like 37 minutes, bro.
Yep, perfect.
Masterpiece.
You ever hear of a classic film from 1964, Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon Jinn?
No.
Wasn't he the...
No. 3 hours, 3 minutes from 1964.
I didn't see that.
No shit.
Obviously.
Who? Raise your hand if you saw Qui-Gon.
I've never seen it, but I know I've heard of it.
You know, it's funny. When Tom C was on, he said he was going to pick it for us to review next time he was on. Maybe that's why we haven't had it back on.
But you're not as confused as Tom C is. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I really do want to see Qui-Gon. I'm just using it as an example. There was another movie that was fucking 8 hours long. I can't remember what it was called now.
It was some Russian film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the first 2 hours of it, and I'm like, okay, I'm out.
First 2 hours.
No, I know it, but I don't know the name of it, but I do remember seeing some of it. And as far as Qui-Gon goes, I mean, the reason why you would want to see that isn't because it's 3 hours long. Isn't just because it's 3 hours long.
Oh, right.
It's 3 hours long from 1963 or 1964.
Yeah, 4.
I mean, that is an anomaly, if anything. Nowadays, it's commonplace. You know.
I just don't think it needs to be that long. I love when I watch baseball. You know what I mean? When the class of 2003, 2009's in my wheelhouse. And I can appreciate a good pitcher's duel as much as the next cat. But there's some things that we got fucking shit to do, dog.
Do you want them to add the pitch clock to movies now? Is that what you're suggesting?
I want the Dave Chappelle wrap it up clock. We got to fucking hurry this up a little bit. And there's some great long pictures. And is this one of them? I don't know. We haven't even gotten there yet. But we got some shit to fucking do in life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this needs to be that.
Well, ironically enough, we got shit to do in life right now. So why don't we get to the review and stop talking about other things?
So Beau is Afraid. It is written and directed by Ari Aster, and it is classified as a comedy, drama, horror.
Comedy?
Yeah.
Comedy?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely comedy in here.
Yeah, there's definitely some funny parts here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fucking fascinated to hear about that.
So the film stars Joaquin Phoenix, Patty Lupone, Amy Ryan, Nathan Lane, Kylie Rogers, Dennis Menashe, Parker Posey, Zoe Lister-Jones, Armin Nahapeshian, Armin Hammer, Julia Antonelli, Richard Kind, Haley Squires, Julian Richings, Bill Hader. I actually didn't know. Apparently, he plays the UPS guy.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, you never see his face though. I don't think. Yeah.
Oh my god!
No.
Yeah,
you hear him on the phone, and his back is to the camera. You never see his face.
Right.
Yeah, because speaking of great comedic moments, that dialogue was super funny.
All right, so the synopsis of the film: following the sudden death of his mother, a mild-mannered but anxiety-ridden man confronts his darkest fears as he embarks on an epic Kafka-esque odyssey back home.
Bro.
Now, Ari Aster, I don't know if it's Aster or Oster.
I say Aster.
He's putting the ass back in Aster.
That's what he did.
Previously on, he has directed the films Hereditary and Midsommar, both of which I enjoyed quite a bit. And the thing I like about Ari's work is he adds, I mean, I know in some circles they may say that he's elevated horror or socially conscious or horror, like whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's just an auteur, like a filmmaker who
right.
injects a lot of horrific stuff into his films. And I appreciate the fact that he doesn't shy away from that. So he does like this kind of like Hollywood-esque, like big budget style, but they're technically genre films,
Sure.
but they're long. They have a lot of big stars in them. So I just, it's an interesting mix for me of like really kind of surrealistic genre picture with a big budget and, with really well-made films with great cinematography and everything.
Sure.
So far, I mean, I really enjoyed Hereditary, and I think I like Midsommar a little bit more. Hereditary definitely, I only saw it the once in the theater, and I was like, just because I hadn't seen any of his movies previously, obviously, because it was his first one. But yeah, it was certainly an experience to see it in the theater for the first time. But I think I have, to coin a term, the cut of his jib now. I think I understand sort of what, what he does with his films, and is very interesting. And I think he's someone definitely. Him and Robert Eggers, like I don't think they're similar in the way that they make films, but they bring an intelligence to genre cinema, and that's something I really appreciate. It's not like it's a new thing, but they just do it exceptionally well, I think.
Yeah, I think I don't feel that he's elevated horror. I just think
I don't either.
Himself...
I'm just saying what other people say. I don't think.
I understand. No, I understand that. But what I think he's just found himself a doorway, down a road that has not really yet been explored. Like like it's some kind of brand new subgenre. I don't know what the hell you would call it. But his films while aren't exactly one of a kind, his style is I don't want to say that's one of a kind either, because you as you said, you bring up you brought up Eggers, who I feel there are some comparisons to Aster, but there's another director that I'm going to bring up that has to do with how I felt about this film, and that's the early work of David Lynch.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I was looking at this movie, looking at the way the characters connected with each other, how they interacted with each other, especially towards Beau. It had a strong David Lynchian vibe to it, and I'll be specific, right down to Eraserhead. The way the characters interact with the main character of the film, it's almost otherworldly. I don't know what else I hate using that term because it just sounds so, I don't know. I don't want to say juvenile, but I don't know how I'd put it, but I guess otherworldly is really the only way to put it. It just the way the characters interact with our main character here, Beau, it just comes off with a very strong Lynchian vibe, a very strong Eraserhead vibe. You know, a meek man who's just trying to get by in life, and he's coming across these bizarre and weird characters who either treat him nice or treat him horribly, but they all have one thing in common, and that is that they are just quirky to him. And he's just, and like I said, this is a guy who's just trying to get by in life. You know, he's trying to, get to a funeral. You know, and I don't know. We'll talk about it some more, but that's my initial reaction to it right now.
Before we dive in, do you have anything to add, Raven Shadow, about Ari Aster and his work?
No, I mean, I don't think I saw Heredity.
Heredity? Well, no one did because it's called Hereditary.
Oh, what I say?
You said Heredity.
That was the prequel.
Yeah, we didn't do it for the show. We did Midsummer for the show, though.
Yeah. I like the Midsummer. You know, that was, and once again, that's not my gimmick overall. I'm not a big folk horror guy, but I did like Midsummer. The fucking rock scene was fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I did give it a treat. Now, is that something I would have watched if it wasn't for the show? Probably not.
Nope.
But I'm glad I did.
You should, you should have watched it for Father's Day with your family.
Yeah, it's good. That's fun. Yeah, we should have watched that and Father's Day.
Right.
By a great friends
a double feature.
By a great
Astron
friends
6.
at Astron 6. Yeah, no, Al and Angela can't do that. They're fucking watching Yellowstone all the fucking time. All they do is watch Yellowstone.
Oh, they must be really bummed about the actor strike then too.
Yeah,
because isn't there like a constant stream of those shows or something?
It's just constant. It doesn't matter what day I'm down there. It's always on the Paramount channel. It's all Yellowstone all the time. But I want to watch it. It's on the fucking list. But no, I like Midsummer. You know, was it long? Yeah.
It was as long as summer.
And that's your critique.
Yeah. It was it long? Yeah.
Yeah. I felt when it was over, I had to fucking start shoveling. That's how fucking long it was.
Well, speaking of long films, Evil Corny says The Godfather was 3 hours long, Raven Shadow.
That's a fucking masterpiece by Italian Americans, all right? And it's showing their struggle in a world that fears and hates.
All right, let's talk about this movie. We're going to talk about, So
either Midsummer had fucking Sunny at the fucking toll booth, bro.
We got a short time left.
Yeah, let's do I like doing like kind of like we'll try for like first impression kind of deal, because it's almost impossible to do. I don't want to do a beat for beat plot synopsis. I mean, I think let's do first impression. So MZ, I know we'll start with MZ. I know MZ was a big fan of Ari Aster's previous work. So kind of just first impressions. This isn't, not verdict, but, some things that stood out to you or maybe how it, watching it versus your expectations of it.
Well, I didn't have any expectations of it because I knew of the film and I wanted to see the film, and I even mentioned it to you. I really want to see this only because I heard of the synopsis on it, but I never saw any trailers or anything like that. I think I just mentioned what my first impressions of the film are about, a few minutes ago. Now, I'll let me just add that now. Does it need to be 3 hours long? No. This honestly, I think that this movie could have been shortened by a good 40 minutes, and I think you still would have a film here that is just as strong as the film that you ended up watching. But like I said, like I said before, I feel a very strong Lynchian vibe on this film. The characters, the sets, even. There's some really interesting visuals here that that I would like to talk about as we go along. But I mentioned what my first my first thoughts of this film were, so I'm all set in that department.
All right. So for me, I guess what I'll say is this may have been one of the most stressful movie viewing experiences I've ever had. This is 3 hours of, and it's not all this, but it's 3 hours of watching what it's like to have anxiety. Like, it's a really I feel like this might be one of Ari Aster's most accomplished films in terms of just showing the plight of somebody. Like in this, like the sound mix, the way it was shot, like everything served the purpose of, Beau, someone who is dealing with complex emotional issues as it relates to it's so varied and deep. There's like a myriad of myriad issues here. We'll boil it down to mommy issues, I guess, is the best way to put it for now. We'll dive maybe a little bit deeper into it. But as someone who, and it's explained a little bit later in the film, so I don't want to say too much about it, but we kind of learn where a little bit of that trauma came from.
Yeah.
And his mother was someone who was pretty well off and famous, and loved her son maybe a little bit too much, and was making up for inadequacies that she might have had. So we get someone who is very sheltered, and he emotionally was, I think, stunted at a certain age, to the point where he didn't really develop emotionally because he was so reliant upon his mother when he was younger that, if you don't have to worry about things, or like his mother also dissuaded him from following other things that would make him an adult, or whatever. Like, for instance, I don't want to get into too much the details just yet, but when he meets Elaine on that boat, what his mother was kind of saying to him about her, and and just all this complex trauma that she built up in him, like about having sex, about being out in the world, to the point where I feel like a lot of what we saw on screen in this movie was his interpretation of what the world was like. And to me, that was like, holy shit. Like, so I don't know if this is just a fucked up world that is in this movie, or if it's his interpretation of a normal world and how scared he is to exist in it. I found that super interesting and super, it just was really, just the way it was portrayed, like to the point where he's walking through the city, whatever city he's in. There's some dude polishing a gun, and then
yes,
okay, so this dude polishing his gun. There's all these other people doing things, and then there's people filming someone on a building, trying to get him to jump. They're actually persuading him to jump, as opposed to typically people are like, "Oh my god, like someone help him," But everyone's filming shit, like it. And to me, I don't think that's the world that Ari Aster was building here. I think that this is the world as viewed through the lens of someone with complex trauma and emotional issues. Because he does have anxiety. He sees the therapist,
Right.
and he prescribes him a new drug for anxiety. And I feel like that's why the movie is so stressful, because I feel like it's doing, it's trying to portray anxiety, and like everything is out to get him, or everything is harmful. So like, even like when he goes to his fucking apartment building for the first time, he's like in a full fucking sprint running down the street, and then as he gets there, some dude, like the tattooed dude, like tries to follow him. He's like, hey, get over here. And he follows him, and he just barely makes it into his building and closes the door behind the guy before the guy grabs him, And so that right there, and later on, like we find out maybe a different perspective of what happened there. Maybe, that's up for interpretation as well. But is this just the way that he views everyone? Like everyone's out to get him. Everyone wants to hurt him. And he's just so anxious that he just can't physically exist in the world without thinking something is going to get him. And I think the best interpretation of this, or the best example of this, is when he takes that new medicine and he doesn't have any water. That fucking scene, holy shit, that scene stressed me the fuck out. He goes to try the water. The water is off. He doesn't have, he ran out of water in his fridge. He goes to the faucet. There's no fucking water. It's turned off. And then he's fucking flipping out. He doesn't have his keys because someone stole his keys and his fucking, luggage, because he was about to go on a trip to go visit his mom. So he doesn't go on the trip because he doesn't have his keys. He doesn't want to leave his door open. He tries to reach out to the landlady. Landlady thinks he's fucking like, some spam caller, and hangs up on him. Right. And so he's in his house, no water. And then he remembers the therapist saying, make sure to drink lots of water. And then he's like flipping out, making the situation worse. And he looks it up online, and the first thing he sees is someone dies from taking this without water. And so he's fucking flipping out, and he looks across the, across the street down below, and sees that the convenience store is like pushing a huge stack of water up against the wall. And he's like, I gotta go, but he doesn't have his keys. So that whole scene when he's in the store, because he props the door open and he's in the store trying to pay for it. His card's declined. And he's trying to get the change, and the guy's threatening to fucking call the cops on him if he doesn't pay the $1.70 or whatever it is. And he's fucking flipping out, watching all these people go into his building. It's like, that was so unbelievably stressful. And that was shot so fucking perfectly. It just blew my mind how stressful that was. So, and we could talk about that. That's pretty much my impression, is that there was a lot of care put into this film to show through the lens of Beau, of how he experiences the world. And I thought that was fucking brilliant. I really thought it was done so well.
Yeah, it seriously set the tone for the kind of life that he lives every single day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got to tell you, I was never once bored with Beau and the troubles that he had. I was never not once bored by him and his reaction to it. And I don't mean that in some sort of an exploitive way. I just, because Aster had Phoenix, he directed him with a lot of care with this role and this character. And so as not to make it exploitive, because it very easily could have gone there. Yeah. Very, very easily. And it didn't. I was waiting for it to.
And there's a lot of subtlety in his performance too, so you can tell. I think that Ari sort of was like, just do some stuff with your face or whatever. Yeah. Like I feel like there was a lot of little subtlety in that.
Right, there was, and Phoenix pulled it off, man.
Hey, dude's fucking awesome. I can't think of anything he's been bad in. He's usually fucking outstanding.
And was that a piece he had for his hair?
I mean,
Do you think?
I assume so. I think he's got full hair. Yeah.
And definitely dyed gray. I mean, like, I think he's around our age, a little bit older.
No, he's about. He's somewhere between your age and my age, I think.
Yeah.
And you know what? The hair lip that he has kind of adds to it, and that of course everyone knows he has a real hair lip. That's genuine.
Yeah.
And that I don't know why, but to me, I just felt that kind of added to the personality that this man has, that this character has, I should say. I don't know. There's something about he has an emotional problem, but also the fact that he has this physical ailment, I guess you could call it, or I don't want to call it a defect or a deformity.
You talking about anxiety?
I'm talking about his hair lip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I brought in the
just a scar, I guess.
The anxiety to go along with it, but I mean, you got him. He's got the anxiety, but I don't know. For some reason, to me, you add the hair lip to it. You add not only the fact that he's emotionally imperfect, but he's also physically imperfect. That it just kind of adds to the sympathy of this character.
Yeah. Was going to add something about Joaquin was born in 74. So yeah, you're right, MZ. He is sort of between me and Raven Shadow's age and your age, so he would be 49 now. But yeah, I mean, he's I can't remember, MZ. Did you see Joker?
Yes.
And what did you and you liked it, right?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was okay. Another movie that played strong on his ability to play very emotional characters.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing it for a while now, and he's been a lot of let's see, yeah. I mean, he's been good for a very long time, and this one completely hinges on his performance. Once again, I mean, I would say he's on screen like 98% of the 3-hour runtime of this, right? Like
almost every scene. Like I made a couple of notes in my moving rating journal while watching this.
Oh, you pat yourself on the back, Raven Shadow.
Yeah, he's moved up from Post-it notes. Good for you, Raven Shadow.
And my first thing was my first writing is this movie's fucked. Misery and despair abounds. Real world Gotham City.
Yeah, actually, that's not bad.
Yeah. Trigger warnings. Mean. Not fun. Great acting and direction. What the fuck? The family. And that's when I stopped writing in the journal.
All right. So you didn't give your first impression. Maybe that's kind of it. Maybe you just did.
That was kind of it. And I'm like, this, and I just like, long day, everyone's got fucking problems, mow the lawn, sitting down, watching with Oliver. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just, and I'm not a big fan of like sad sack characters. Now, I like Joaquin Phoenix. I do. I'm pretty sure early on he was like Bill Phoenix. I'm not sure where Joaquin come from. What was that movie where he drew the sideburns on him? Like he had old sideburns like you had, Wolfie. But there was a scene where he had a black Sharpie and he drew those.
I don't remember.
It was some picture early on. But overall, I like Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, he was great as over the top as TNT in the Oliver Stone picture. He's a good actor. I mean, and there's definitely a fucking Gladiator callback. Just saying, but I'm like, this dude is fucking miserable. Like it sucks. Like this sad sack bullshit, and it is a struggle. Like this is a painful movie to watch. By no means is that saying the direction or the acting or the lighting, but like the Sodom and Gomorrah of the city that's going on, almost like Dawn of the Dead level of stuff, like when he has to prop the door because he doesn't have his key card for his apartment. And the graffiti, well, like the Pope eats shit,
Yeah.
or like this, like
Yeah.
some terrible, like this is like the South Side of Gotham City. This is why you have to have 8 members of the Bat family to try to keep people from not getting killed. You know what I mean? Like, it's terrible. But I love the way you kind of phrased it. Where is this in this cat's mind?
Yeah.
You know, he's not a young fella.
Right. As the movie progresses, I think you understand that, okay, he is dealing with more than just anxiety. You know, like it manifests as anxiety, but he has like, and this is sort of like, this is I guess a trope, but I think there is some truth to it in some ways. There's the whole like Jewish mother like guilt, you know, and
Right.
that that's a stereotype, but there especially in the years prior, I think it was more of a thing. Like for instance, like my mother grew up Jewish, and she got it from her mom, like
Right.
definitely
The perpetuates
and
the cycle.
and then it sort of got through a little bit, and then you just pick up on what you know when you grow up. Like what was that movie? Dogtooth. Did you see that, Raven? I know MZ, you saw it, right? It was the Yorgos
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did it
Yorgos
for the
Lanthimos.
we did it for the
Yeah,
show.
I've seen it.
MZ did it for his 31 Days of Halloween. We didn't do it like on the show proper, but I think you watched it with Marianne because she was trying to keep up with him. But
yeah, she loved it a lot.
But anyways, in that, they like the idea, and maybe you guys can chime in, but the idea was that like they raise kids to think that the world is a certain way, and then because otherwise you don't know any different. You grow up in a family, like you trust your parents, like that's, if you can't trust your parents, you can't trust anybody, because they raise you from a time when you're a little fucking little baby. You can't do anything. You're helpless. And so, yes, you grow to trust what your parents say is true. And in this, Beau doesn't really know any different. He sees the world through his own eyes, and that's the way he was formed and shaped and raised. And there's certainly you can tell that he is very emotionally stunted.
Yes.
There's that call with his mom when he talks to his mother about missing the flight and how disappointed she is, and how like just the words that she uses make him feel so fucking small and like a little piece of shit, and you can tell, okay, if she's doing this, she's been doing this his whole life. Imagine going through life like that, of constantly feeling like you're a failure. You have made your mother miserable, that, like everything you do is a failure. And you have to constantly apologize for things that aren't even your fault,
And that was the thing, like, did he make a mistake by doing that? Was it real? Was it not? But he's calling her, and then how so dismissive she was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, maybe another time.
Yeah.
Like she's not even concerned about what happened.
If it's too much of a bother, like she used the words.
Yeah.
If it's too much of a bother or a problem, or she used some language like that.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like she a manipulator of words. She knows how to push his buttons.
It was almost like if you didn't want to come, you could just say that. Like, no, they fucking stole my fucking keys and my luggage. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're not on your way.
It is one of those tales that like seems unbelievable. Like, oh, I went, like I had my keys in the door. I was just about to lock it, and I forgot something. I went back in, came back. My luggage and my keys were gone. Like it seems unlikely.
And obviously, this dude, whether a lot of the shit was in his mind or not, it seems like he still wasn't living. The reality was he wasn't living in the best neighborhood. Now,
sure, yeah.
Is that his attempt at, I have to get away.
Yeah.
We never see what his job is, but maybe he had to get so far away that this is all he could afford.
If he even has one. Like it's
Right. Maybe
Yeah,
he was
he could be-
allocated an allowance.
yeah.
Yeah, he could be on disability. You know, I mean,
Oh, right. But obviously from the graffiti in the building, but like it looked like that city was like Sodom and Gomorrah. Like that's what like a bat-shaped hero would be looking down at this intersection.
Right.
Because it's a shit show.
Yeah, and there's like literally in this city there was like a dead person laying on the ground.
Right.
Like clearly dead. There's someone else like stabbing people, like getting on top of them and just stabbing them.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the gimmick with the naked fucking threat.
Yeah.
And I love how like, yes, he is uncircumcised.
Yeah.
The uncircumcised naked
Yeah,
man.
Oh,
You know, which I want to say one thing, driving to work today, I was a little bit delayed because there was an overdose on Pleasant Street. There was a dude, I literally saw someone fucking doing a fucking
oh Jesus.
CPR. Like, so like it made this movie a little bit more relevant as I'm fucking driving down, listening to El Goro.
Well, at least it was soothing to listen to El Goro, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the subtlety. So when he's talking to his mother in that one scene, like you can see the look on his face, and you can almost
Just
at
that.
yeah, like it's that was so telling, and it was done exceptionally well. Because it told you all you needed to know about his relationship with his mother. You know, like literally from a couple looks, it kind of said everything you needed to know.
Yeah.
And then from there,
What the fuck?
we it takes a turn. That whole fucking scene in the convenience store with the water. That was fucking stressful and nuts. And then what happens after? Like, I kind of don't even want to say, because if people haven't seen this, I kind of don't want to say what happens. But you know, and also just to add another fucking layer to this, that apparently there's a brown recluse spider loose in his belly.
Yeah. oh my God! I forgot about that gimmick too.
Yeah, the brown recluse. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if that doesn't put you on pins and needles, I don't know what does, you know?
Yeah.
But
and the scene in the bathtub.
Oh
God. My Lord.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah. That
and
was
then
insanity.
fucking Schrodinger's fucking recluse spider shows up. Fucking or Chekhov spider. That's what it is.
Chekhov spider.
But you know what? It was that scene that, and I'm gonna go off on a tangent here.
Yeah,
I think
boy.
You guys know where I'm gonna go here. If you look real close, not that you don't get to see it later on, but if you look real close early on,
his cock.
Well, not so much his cock, but
All right.
his balls.
Yeah.
You see his balls. They're fucking like. Well, let's put it this way. They put mine to shame.
Well, I was gonna say, whoa. MZ, how come you didn't tell us that your balls were stand-ins for Joaquin Phoenix? You didn't tell us that. Did they scan your balls to use for future film work too?
Yeah.
Yes, I had a 3D rendering done on my balls, and they flew me out to California, all expenses paid. They were very nice. They fed me ramen noodles.
They fed you? They should feed your
Yeah,
balls.
well, look.
I guess
feed
technically
me,
they did.
They feed me, I feed my balls. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, and it's like a pregnant mother. You feed the mom feeds the baby. You feed me, I feed my balls.
Your balls are so much bigger than Joaquin Phoenix, bro.
Look. I knew the comparison was going to come up sooner or later, and they are. And on his, I'm talking about, they are big. Mine are big.
There might be a reason as to why his were so big, though.
Maybe I got anxiety issues because in a way,
no.
Not as bad as his.
Something that happens later in his mom's bedroom.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Fucking Superman over there, Kal-El.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to Parker Posey.
And you don't think there's any comedy in this, Raven Shadow? Are you kidding me?
Bro, I did not laugh once. I got aroused a little bit. Just for seeing some
You got that nice
nudity.
close. You got that nice close up.
I did, yeah. I wasn't even sure. Like
Evil Corny said, "Birthday boy stab man." That was him. Birthday boy stab man. So yeah, so I mean, after that, So okay, his balls. We saw lots of Joaquin's ass. I don't know if those are his balls, if it was Rufus and Ronaldo standing in, or
stunt balls,
or laying
are
in.
Are these your balls?
Whose cum is this?
Whose cum is this? If I had a nipple for every time.
Are those your balls?
Are those your balls?
Maybe we should do that scene too.
Oh my
one
God.
Of the other. So, So all right. So that fucking bathtub scene was nuts.
Brother's just trying to chill, dog.
I know.
Brother's just trying to
after
chill.
all that fucking happened.
His house is fucking tuned up like a fucking Maru fucking Wheelock Ave party. And bro just wants to fucking chill in the bathtub and looks up. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boyski.
That was crazy.
But he ends up in a situation where we're not going to say what it is, but he ends up in a situation where he ends up in someone else's house. And the situation that goes on in that house just it just upticks his anxiety even more. You can hear it. And you can hear it.
Oh my God.
His voice, he's like, you can hear his voice like whining and
I want to go home.
Squeaking and high pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point you're really starting to get stressed. And I really didn't want to use the same verbiage as Wolfie, but there's really no other way to put it. He really does start getting stressed at this point. And it does get to be very stressful because of the situations that this family, namely the daughter, puts him in.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's a teenager, and teenagers don't know any better. But goddamn, this is just a person who is just all high and mighty, probably suffering from affluenza, and thinking that she's better. Affluenza.
What is that?
Because she's affluent and she's sick because her parents are rich.
Okay, that's kind of awesome. All right. Did you make that up, or is that a thing?
No, I made it up right now. Oh, is it really? I made it up.
Affluenza is when you are wealthy to the point where you feel like you don't have anything to explain for.
He is right. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh, I was riffing. Okay.
No.
So yeah, it's that word I used a couple weeks ago. It's a portmanteau of affluence and influenza, and is used most commonly by critics of consumerism. It is not medically recognized as a disease, but it's just it's a pseudoscientific psychological malaise supposedly affecting wealthy people.
Yeah, that they don't have to. Yeah, that they don't have to explain anything for their actions. They don't have to be responsible for anything because they're wealthy.
Yeah, so that kind of brings. That's interesting. I actually didn't know that. So, but to me, it brings up one interesting point: is the way people react to Beau. So Beau is shaped by his trauma, his emotion, his complex emotional trauma, his relationship with his mother, and I feel like the way people deal with him, interact with him, is related to how their relationship status sort of is. Like so we get, for instance, just to go to that family where he ends up in the other place, Grace and Roger, played by Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane, which I thought both of them were fucking awesome in this.
Oh my
Yeah,
God! How
they were
good did Nathan
fantastic.
Lane look?
That was fantastic. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
They
He
both
looked
were
fantastic.
They
He
were
looked fantastic.
They were both great. And
Yeah.
the daughter Tony, played by Kylie Rogers. So
Jesus Christ!
without saying too much about that whole bit, is they lost their son, and so it's sort of that thing
in the service in Afghanistan. That's important.
Yeah, in
Afghanistan,
in the service, and so they are almost kind of projecting like their loss of like that relationship on Beau. You know, like they almost treat him like a son. You know, and I feel like Tony, the sister, treats him like bullies her like her brother. You know, I guess it would be her older brother if he were still alive in the movie. But you know, like I feel like they take on they interact with Beau in the way that their kind of family dynamic has shaped them. You know, and that kind of comes true with other characters that we meet as well, including the one who was like super nice to him was Penelope, played by Haley Squires, who we see at the play in the woods.
Yeah,
where you can tell she's pregnant, and she's very open and receptive to him, almost as if like that's how she is to her child who she hasn't had yet. It's almost like, you know, like she is so excited and welcome, you know, she wants to welcome her child into the world, and you know, she's just happy to be a parent. And I feel like that sort of is projected into how she treats Beau. You know, like she's very nice to him and all that. So I feel like a lot of this is how people are, their dynamic, their family dynamic, and how they sort of interact with him. Because the family, Grace and Roger, you know, when he leaves their care, you know, I won't say too much. I mean, it makes sense as to why they acted the way they acted, based on what they saw, right? But, you know, it's because, I'm trying to tiptoe around this, but their reaction was warranted based on what they saw, but it was all based around the memory of their son, you know, and once the memory of their, like, because they almost took in Beau as if he were their son, and then once he was believed to have done something against that memory, that's when they turned, right? So, you know, like I feel like how people interact with families or sons or mothers or daughters or fathers or whatever is sort of how Beau is sort of like perceived in their world. So I don't know, like, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about like specific instances, but even one other one I guess I'll bring up is Parker Posey, who played Elaine. You know, sort of like we get a small glimpse of her when she was younger, but it's almost like it makes sense what ends up happening between their two characters based on their previous, but based on what we know about Elaine, you know, and kind of what we saw in the flashback, like that, her the way she sort of like interacted with him made sense to me. So I don't know, just kind of an observation. I don't, you know, they really tried to focus on how people treat each other based on their familial relationships, you know. So I thought that was a really interesting aspect of this, because, you know, that's something that, you know, that's the way, as I was saying earlier, that's the way that it is. Like we learn from our parents, and it shapes us in a big way. And sometimes that's for the good, sometimes it's for the bad. And you know what? Like, even if our parents are great people and like mean well, like that's not to say that they didn't make mistakes or maybe did things that they didn't realize would cause, you know, attachment issues or detachment issues or whatever. Like, you know, because there's no handbook on how to fucking, you know, the one way to raise a child, you know?
Right. And sometimes maybe it's because you're trying to do the opposite of what you got. So as you're a
Yeah,
parent, you're like, okay,
exactly.
well,
Yep.
maybe then, okay, this was not good. Let's try to
Yeah.
overdo this and
Overcompensate. Yeah.
overcompensate. And I mean, there's definitely a lot of a lot of theses that could be made from the psychological, you know, fallout
Yeah.
of these characters in this picture.
There's also the opposite too. Is if you were neglected in a certain way, maybe you'll overcompensate for that when you have a child, or you know what, maybe like that's why like abuse typically gets passed on because if
Right.
it happened to you, that's what you know, and then that's what you do. Like it's almost like it's unavoidable sometimes. It's this vicious cycle, right? So, and that's I think that's the good thing about this day and age about like being able to talk more openly about
Finally.
mental health and about issues like that. And it is important to address them because there could be things that happened that shaped you. It makes me think of I brought this up before, but Kevin Smith, when he is dealing with like trauma, like we're talking about here, complex emotional trauma from when he was younger that shaped who he was, and and all that. And he was able to pinpoint certain instances when he was younger of like, oh yeah, like this is an inflection point. From this point on, I became a different person, or I acted a different way. It's actually a really interesting video. It's on YouTube. I can't remember the name of it, but he talks about his struggle and going to rehab and then getting into therapy and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting, and I think it's good that we can be more open about it. I still think there's a bit of a stigma attached to some of it, rightfully so, because it's hard to admit that that we have issues, or we might seem weaker or something like that because we admit to anxiety or whatever. Like in this case, Beau has anxiety.
And not all trauma is abuse. Like I said before, not
Yep.
all trauma is violence or anger.
Right.
Sometimes
There's emotional abuse,
and maybe it could be misplaced.
right?
Delusions of grandeur or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And and like I said, it doesn't it there's the possibility that it wasn't intentional. Like it's not like your parents wanted to damage you. Like it's just they learned a certain way, or that's the way that they were, and that's that's just the way it goes. So I thought that this was interesting to see some of how that manifests, and then we really see it through his eyes, like especially like I talked about in that opening bit, with how fucking anxiety ridden and stressful it was. That's Beau's world. That's how he sees the world, and it's crazy to think that obviously, I mean, it's a movie and it's fictionalized, but it could be that people see the world more dangerous than it is because of that stuff.
And that's the funny thing. It's even you wonder to look at certain people and you're like, oh, is that how they see it? And it might be
right. And that's the thing, is we don't know. Like, when you interact with people, you have no idea of what they're coming to the table with, right? So that's why I think this is how it's changed now. I think it's better to come with more of an open mind and being a little bit more empathetic, because you don't know, right? Like in this case, if we interacted with Beau in this movie, he might see Ravenchild smoking a butt, hair flowing. You might think that you want to hurt him or something, right? Like,
well, it's a funny thing too. Like I've had conversations with people, and I'm like, I feel I'm an introvert, and they're like, no, you're not. You're outgoing. I'm like, no, that's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick, yeah.
For a lot of it. That's it's a fucking act. I had to go through a lot to create that persona, and I think all of us could be considered outgoing in our probably various fields, and we're all fucked up, not in a bad way, but in like a Guardians of the Galaxy way. You know what I mean? But like there are some people who are very quiet, and you wonder, oh, why is that? Maybe the cat in the office, who doesn't talk, and they're like, oh,
Right.
we should be friends. But I think for us, maybe outgoing might come naturally, even if it wasn't our gimmick being young.
Yeah.
I didn't feel confident until probably my mid to late 20s.
Yeah, and that's kind of same with me. Like I was super shy growing up, But yeah, that's the thing is we don't know what people are coming to the table with. So, for instance, if there is someone who's super quiet at work and reserved, like maybe they just are like they just want to get their work done and don't want to socialize because that's their thing. Or you know what, maybe they have self-esteem issues that have built up over the years and they don't feel comfortable talking to people they don't really know very well. I don't know. Like it's one of those things, or maybe there's anxiety, or maybe any number of reasons. Like maybe they just have social issues.
And I will say for me, it helped. Meeting friends, and then later on meeting you guys, like doing the NCW, wrestling stuff or whatnot, doing this podcast. It helps to. But it was a growth.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like it's funny. Like I want to kind of stay on topic with the movie because I want to start to wrap up soon. But like for me, like even just my sort of like how things have changed. I was talking to Rocky recently about doing. I used to do internet radio with Rocky. That's how I met Rocky back in the day in the like mid 2000s. And I was like fucking petrified to talk on the air back then. Like I would just play music, and then I would just mention the songs, and then out. I'd be like, oh, we just heard blah, 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 from from whatever, and just say that, and then kind of be out because I didn't feel comfortable talking, and then that's actually where I got to be better about it. People told me I had a good voice. They're like, oh, you have a really great voice for this. You should do more. You should talk more, do more radio. And that's kind of where it started to build. And I was like, really? I was like, I don't like my voice. Like it sounds weird, but that's when I started to think about it. I was like, oh, well, maybe if people are saying this, there must be something to it, and it's funny going back.
Playing a persona, having a nickname or alter ego to kind of like you pull into, like the best wrestling gimmicks are your personality heightened to a little bit more.
Yeah. So, that's, I don't want to get too deep into that. It's just one of those things where you don't really know what people are bringing to the table. So it's best to sort of enter with an open mind and not make assumptions about like, oh, well, they must be, they must hate me, or they, they, whatever. Like you won't know until you ask them, and maybe it's uncomfortable to ask. So just get to know them or whatever. And then maybe they'll open up and tell you a little bit more. Like, oh, I was so afraid to talk to you because I I have anxiety or, or whatever. Like you always talk to everybody and I think you want to talk to me, or whatever. So, yeah, it's one of those things, I think it would be more helpful for people to bring that sort of kind of attitude to the table. I'm not telling people how to fucking be, but like just you don't know what people have gone through, so you don't know what they're bringing to the table. So
and I think last thing I want to say, but I think a lot of us were lucky about to meeting each other at the time in our lives where it was a time to start new, and that's why it just means a lot to me meeting you guys and everybody else, and
well, and we've even had different phases too, right? Like we used to hang out back in the day. Like I've talked about this. I've known MZ since like 1991, I think, or 90 or 91.
91.
Yeah. 91. So we weren't at first. I was in a band with his brother, so I was friends with his brother, but then I started going over to his house for band practice or just to see his brother. And I was like, oh, that dude's pretty cool. He loves he loves horror movies. This is awesome.
Right.
I'm just going to chat with him anytime I'm there. So then we started, and then I ended up hanging out with him, and I don't even talk to his brother anymore. Not that I don't like him. I like him. I like his brother, but like his brother's got family. He's got his own thing going on. And so like, me and MZ obviously kept in touch. So it's just, you just never know how things will work out like that. So, but yeah, I mean, we had that. We had the phase where we're all hanging out at the same time. back in the mid to late '90s, and then I think people drifted, and then we'd see each other here and there, and then when we started doing the show, it was like a whole new sort of phase, right? It's like
right.
Like sometimes we see too much of each other. Probably it's like once a week dealing with messages here and there. So yeah,
These fucking guys, and Wolfie gets the brunt of it. But like, you meet him on set. I'm like, who is this fucking guy? Oh, you love Stern. You love Weird Science. All right, bro. Police Academy. I'm with that.
Stern and Weird
right.
Science. That was pretty much the bar.
that's all
huh?
you had to say.
Yeah.
Police Academy, Weird Science, Howard Stern. That's it. That's all it takes.
That's all you had to say.
Oh.
You had me at Police Academy.
Yeah. All right. Then.
Evil Corny says, I'm on the phone with Dingo Dane. Oh,
shit.
Corny. Tell Dingo Dane he's awesome and we miss him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dingo Dane, how you going? That's what they say in Australia.
I miss Dingo Dane. What is going on with Ollie?
I don't know.
Are you
He's on the
beating him?
couch. No, he's literally on the couch yelling at me. Hang on 1 second. Buddy, what, dude?
God. All right, let's continue with this.
Yeah, so I want to start to wrap up, but I know we barely even talked about it.
Come on, dude. We barely touched anything.
I know, but
All
the
right,
thing is
let's
we can't talk too much about it.
No, I know. All right, so let's talk about the style of film. One of the aspects of the film that I really liked was how everything looked during that narration scene with the female narrator, and he's
during the play.
And he's walking through life through the whole play, the scenario, just the atmosphere that he was in was all done out of like paper and cardboard.
Yeah, it was cool.
Painted houses and shit like that. It was really, really interesting. I loved how that looked and the way it was all set up and everything. Oh my god, that was probably my favorite part in the entire film.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty outstanding.
Narration.
Yeah, it was. It was cool. It was almost like it was a bit of a microcosm of the film in a way. Like it kind of like it was embellished and it told you a little bit more, but it sort of like led through some of the events of his life. And it was interesting to see him as like a spectator in his own life of what could have been. I'm not saying that that's like was his life, but it was like almost like one outcome, one potentiality of what it could have been.
Yeah. If he didn't have any anxiety, or if he was raised right, or anything like that. If one thing was different, that outcome could have happened. If another thing was, it could, another outcome could have come out of it. But as the film continues, you see that it starts getting a little bit darker and because what happened? I'm trying to remember what happened after the play scene. What happened after that? I forget.
Oh, the weird like animation and
that's what
the life stuff.
That's what he's talking about liking. What happened is, what's his name? Jeeves happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jeeves.
The brother's friend from Grace and Roger's house.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
That was interesting. It was almost like that was like a lot of the horror was that scene of like Jeeves. I thought that was kind of interesting and well done how they did that. But yeah, I agree. I thought that was a great scene, and there was some cool stuff that happened, and how it transitioned and how it like played with time, where like we all of a sudden cut to him like as like an older man, and then we see like the older man walk in as a guest in the play. So I thought that there was some really neat stuff that they did with that, and how they were sort of like telling this story and giving you some context, or maybe some outcomes of what could happen or what could have happened. I thought that was really, really well done. Definitely different. I can't remember seeing anything like that in a movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of originality in this flick. I gotta say, it's weird. It's like stuff you feel like you've seen before, but you know you haven't seen before. Let's see what else. Well, we don't want to get to the climax, but there were some very hilarious parts in this film.
Oh yeah,
Very, very, very funny. The whole idea of how his mother died.
well, hold on,
God.
hold on about that. That is the third movie, where there is some sort of like major head trauma in. So all three of his films have some sort of major head trauma.
I never caught on to that. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're
The
right.
fucking head trauma trilogy.
It really is. Like Ravenchild, you haven't seen Hereditary. Maybe you've seen the meme, but there's some head trauma for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I hate any kind of head trauma.
Especially if especially if it includes Parker Posey.
Oh man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah. And the painting on the wall near the end of the film, the painting on the wall of his grandmother.
Yep.
Did you see the look on the face of that one?
Yeah.
I was in tears. I was laughing so hard at that.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're dealing here with a serious situation here. I'm not going to say what it is, but you're dealing with quite a serious situation, and Beau is really like flipping the fuck out. And there's this painting of his grandmother, and it's the funniest goddamn thing. Because she's just so. I don't want to say she's hideous looking. She's just goofy looking.
Right.
I mean, if you really looked at it, oh my god! And also some great scenes that happen in the attic of the house.
Including that the monster, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah. Let's call it that. See, they also called me in California to take care of that too.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could fucking wear it. Yeah, I mean that alone, right? The monster in the attic, Raven Shadow. Like, come on, that's not funny.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, there's some other stuff. It's more dark comedy. You know, it's not like slapstick or whatever. Like, it's. I mean, I just don't know how you can't just laugh at some of the stuff, like what happens with Parker Posey.
Oh, that is
like
hysterical.
it's almost so tragic, and you can't help but laugh. And then what happens after that? Like, I don't know. Like,
see, I was so that scene was so painful, even though not to be Randy Pan the Goat Boy, but I don't think we've ever seen Parker Posey nude. And that was nice. She looks good. She looks fucking great.
Yeah, she does.
You know, nice breasts.
Oh, jeez.
What? I'm saying she did a really good job. But it was very real.
She did a really good job.
She did a really good job. I'm not sure if the butt scene was a body double, but and that's when we saw the zoom in on the sack.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of sack shots.
No, you don't. Not like that. I mean, the last time you saw a sack shot like that in a movie, to my recollection, would be Sid Haig in The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, wow. I don't remember that, but yeah, that's good. But I'm like, okay, that's clearly a.
You know what?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and you know what? This film could have ended in any possible way, you know. And
buddy,
this movie could have ended in any multitude of ways because of the way that that Beau deals with his anxiety.
Mhm.
You don't know how serious, how stressful it's going to get. If it's laying low, if he's calm, if he's hyper, you don't know how the film is going to end. And so to have this, I'll say this: with the way this movie ended, man, oh, that was harsh.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was fucking harsh. And also, it had Richard Kind,
Yeah, it did.
who
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of Richard Kind. Uh, a funny son of a bitch, very funny guy. If you ever listen to him when he's on Gilbert's podcast, he was on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast a few times, and he is absolutely hysterical. And when I saw him on, I'm like, holy shit, what is he doing on this movie?
It's funny.
It just seems so out of the norm for him.
Yeah, I didn't recognize his voice as like the person on the phone when he would call like his mom's lawyer, I think it was. I didn't make the connection because his voice sounded familiar, but I didn't realize who it was until we saw him. So that was it was good seeing Richard Kind in this.
And also Beau's doctor, who's
his therapist?
His therapist, yeah, who's constantly smiling and constantly writing notes, even at the most inopportune of times, when he shows up at times when you least expect him to show up, and he's there with a big shit-eating grin on his face, and it just sets a very odd feeling. That it's almost dreamlike the way Astor has set this whole thing up. Again, I'm going to go back to Lynch, especially Eraserhead. It just has that sense of quirky characters dealing with our main character who's just trying to get by, who's just trying to live his life, who's trying to do the best he can with what little he has to work with. And like I said, either they help him or they hurt him, they're nice to him, they're mean to him. It almost becomes irrelevant because they all have that same quirky personality about them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's let me just read. Evil Corny says Parker Posey was the only thing I liked about Superman Returns. All right. Check the other chats. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. Yeah, I guess we can talk about like what we thought of the ending. I don't want to talk about what happened, but I mean, this film is a journey. Like I'll definitely say that.
No.
It goes places. And I thought the end was not like it wasn't jarring because I think that they set up that like almost anything could happen in this film, right? Especially after that play scene. So that wasn't out of left field, but it was an interesting way to end it, I guess we'll say. It was almost like, how do I say without giving too much away? Like, when I think it's I've never read the Bible. I'm not Christian, so I don't know. But I think what they say is like at the end of your life, you're judged before God. Like in all your all your sort of deeds and everything are put forth before you to see where you end up. I feel like I got like a little bit of a vibe of that. Sort of almost being on trial for your life. And in this case, it was a different kind of trial than you would think. Like, it's not like you're just being judged by someone. There is a plaintiff and a defendant in this case, which makes it interesting, especially given who, I guess, the plaintiff is, right?
Right.
So that's why, like, the entirety of this movie is judged through Beau's emotionally traumatized eyes, and everything that happens in it, and to the point where I'll just say after the Parker Posey scene, I wasn't sure if what we saw was reality or if or not. You know, obviously leading up to it, a lot of it was blurred reality, I think. But I'm not sure if that is when we sort of took a turn into the surreal or, you know, whatever we want to call it. You know, I think future watches, that's the thing with Ari Aster's films is I think that additional watches will give you more clarity. And I feel like this is one of the ones, especially when you know everything that happens because you've seen it once, you go back and watch it and you're like, oh, okay, I can see how this relates to the end of the film, you know, or things like that. So I feel like this is one that would really benefit from additional watches to really get a grasp of everything that happens. So we should probably head to the verdict because we are running a little. I wanted to sort of have tried to wrap up by now, but I mean, this is one of those films that it's a 3-hour film that has some really complex themes, and it's not something that even if we had a normal, you know, hour 15, hour and a half that we usually tend to spend on film discussions, I don't think we would have even scratched the surface of. So, you know, I think that's kind of where we'll kind of have to leave it. But do you guys have any final things like before we head to the verdict? Is there anything that we haven't mentioned that jumped out at you, or like a scene or a character?
Nope.
All right. Well, if something occurs to you, bring it up during the verdict. But why don't we go ahead and do the verdict now?
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Beau is Afraid was a trick or a treat. Let's start with Monster Zero.
This movie looked gorgeous, and the fact that it was 3 hours long made me appreciate that aspect of it even more. Although I will say, on the flip side, I think you could have taken 40 minutes out of this film and not really make that much of a dent on the impact. Joaquin Phoenix is fantastic in this movie. Everybody is. He is sympathetic. He is sad. He is anxious. He is who we all are to a certain extent. You know, we all are Beau to a certain extent. Anybody who says otherwise is wrong. So in a way, we can all sympathize with this character to a degree. The set designs were fantastic, especially the play scenes that are just phenomenal. The characters were quirky and colorful, and the dialogue was good. I can't remember too much about the soundtrack because I don't really think there was much of one, because there certainly wasn't any music playing during those closing credits, which made it completely uneasy.
Yeah.
So, that was harsh, man. That was very, very harsh. And especially the way that scene ended during the end credits. If you were keeping close eye, I don't want to say too much about it, but if you're watching, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, this was a very good movie. Could be shorter, but it got its point across, and it's a very good film. Very good performances. Is it Ari Aster's best work? I don't know. I still think Midsommar is his best work. but this is a close second. But this is a heavy duty treat for me. I really dug the hell out of this.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
This movie was not fun. This is who's swearing at? This is not something to put on a rainy Sunday with some Haagen-Dazs and just chill out. This is not that picture, and I'm not sure.
You eat Haagen-Dazs?
You got some?
No.
I like the Ben and Jerry's. That's good. But like it's just not a feel good picture. The performances, the acting, all the technical shit were killer. I mean, everyone involved did a bang up job. It's just is not fun. And by no means is it a like to like comparison. It's almost like a dark antithesis of oh my goodness, what's the Michelle Yeoh picture? Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's almost like the diametric opposite, but yet you can't describe either one. And I'm not sure who I can recommend this to, but if you see it, I'm excited to talk to you about. It's almost like going to be a speakeasy to really, oh, you watch that movie? Okay, whatever. And it was challenging. There's some fucked up shit in this movie. You know, it's going to hit you. I think it's going to hit you. And I think all the things we talked about, whatever your level of psyche or whatever, you're probably likely going to be moved and feel an impact by something of this. Am I going to watch it again? Not really soon. But I got to say, this was a powerful, strong picture. And it was fucked up. I didn't laugh a lot, but overall, this movie's fucked, and it's mean, and it's beautiful. So oddly enough, it is a treat, I guess. Just don't watch it with the family or on like Thanksgiving. Put on Temple of Doom.
Yeah, like you're gonna get them to fucking watch the 3-hour movie after having turkey, right?
Yeah, I got a movie for you guys. You like fucking Yellow Jackets. You like Yellowstone? I got a movie for you. No.
We can do either Beau is Afraid or we could do Requiem for a Dream. What are you thinking?
Yeah. What do you like?
Or Mother. Speaking of Mother, this gave me Mother vibes at the beginning. That opening scene where the fucking going through the city, it gave me like a little bit of Mother vibes, like at the end of Mother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which that movie is fucking awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said treat. So even though it's not fun, it's a treat. Okay.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's painful. It's horrible. It's anxiety ridden. Yeah. Treat.
For me, it's funny. This is not second in a row because last week Tanya watched The Blackening with me, but before that was Bad Girl Boogie, and she had to tap out after the brain trauma.
Oh shit!
But this one here, we started watching together, and about 20 minutes in, she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to tap out of this one too." She loves Joaquin Phoenix, and we both really enjoyed Ari Aster's previous films together. But this one was like, when we're home, we're watching it at home. Like, you can kind of decide. You know what? I'm not in the mood for this one right now. She does have anxiety, and
sure.
This movie added to it, because it's like taking like one thing and adding more on top of it. Your cup is already full and you're trying to pour more into it, So I totally get it. This is going to be a tough watch for some people.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. It's not easy. And this, as I said earlier, this is one of the most stressful films I've probably ever seen.
Yep.
And there's a couple scenes that are incredibly stressful, especially that one when he's trying to buy the water in the convenience store, and he's looking across the street at his front door. That was stressful beyond belief. I was like, holy shit.
Scene, I'll put that scene up against a lot of fucking horror films.
Oh yeah, it was tense as fuck. But now I don't know where to put this in terms of where it stands for Ari Aster films for me, but I think this is his most accomplished work. And what I mean is, in a technical sense,
Yep.
the way it was shot, the way it looked, the writing, all that stuff, I feel is maybe above his other works. And the way it looks, like you guys have already talked about, I don't want to pile on too much, but a lot of the stuff with the theater scene, all that stuff looked fucking great. This is a great looking movie, but it's the subtlety, I think, that really gets me is showing what it's like to experience the world through Beau's eyes. And we see the world through his eyes to begin, but then we get to know more about Beau after to give it additional context, you know? So we're just seeing, oh, like this dude, like this is a fucking crazy city that he lives in. Like, what the fuck? You know,
right.
That's kind of your first thought, I think. But then as you start to go, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, at least for me, I am not saying that that's exactly what Ari Aster did, but I'm like, okay, now that we get to know Beau a little bit more, we can see that we're seeing the world through his eyes. And it's brilliant the way that is done. Like, absolutely brilliant. I feel like I am experiencing the world through this character's eyes. And I can't say that I've seen too many films that do it this effectively. And it's just crazy. Like, so many crazy things happened in this movie. And I've seen some people say, like the first act is good, the second is not as good, and the third act is boring. Like, I've actually seen kind of that sentiment. But for me, I feel like all three acts are strong. They're different. You know, that's just the thing. And you might resonate more with one over another, or two more than the third, or whatever. But I feel like they're all hugely successful. This one definitely is a fucking tour de force. It's impressive. That's, you know, it's not going to end up being one of my favorite movies ever that I'm going to go back to and revisit.
Right.
But it's an impressive piece of cinema. And the acting, I haven't really talked much about the acting, but Joaquin was fucking awesome. Everybody in this, like Amy Ryan, Nathan Lane, Kylie Rogers, Parker Posey, everyone, and even Patti LuPone, who plays his mom in the older mom, and then Zoe Lister-Jones as young Mona was fucking awesome. So many good performances. This is like, if you guys have seen his other work and like it, I don't know why you wouldn't like this, but I don't know, like I can't recommend it enough, especially, you know, seeing the world through a character's eyes and then getting a sort of like a little bit of more information about this character's upbringing as the film goes on, and realizing why we're seeing it the way we're seeing it, I think is just wonderfully done. So yeah, treat for me. Evil Corny says Raven Shadow lit that ciggy and started that verdict like a mofo. All right.
Respect.
Now, next week, as I mentioned, we are not doing a film discussion proper, but if you guys want to do the homework, check out Sharksploitation. It is available on Shudder starting tomorrow on the 21st of July. So watch Sharksploitation, the documentary from our boy Steven Scarlatta. Come back on next week on our 11-year anniversary show, episode 574, and you can hear from the man, find out a little bit more about Sharksploitation, and then whatever else he's got up his sleeve coming up next. So yeah, definitely check out Sharksploitation. And if you have thoughts, you can always send them to us, of course. Like, please let us know what you thought of it if you do catch it. All right, we got voice message, and then we're going to wrap this up. So we got, as of right now, we got 2 voice messages. Let me get this queued up. All right, let's hear from Evil Corny. Let's see what he thinks about Beau is Afraid.
Hey, guys. I'm gonna give Beau is Afraid a tepid treat. I saw this movie in theaters a couple weeks ago, and then gave a rewatch like Sunday, and I was on the fence about liking or disliking it when I saw it in theaters, but now I'm pretty much still on the fence. There's parts of it I really like. It's a real interesting story, but I just see it as being a fucked up Forrest Gump. Yeah. But you all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
Fucked up Forrest Gump. That's pretty funny, actually. All right,
he's not wrong.
Well, I mean, Forrest Gump had all the celebrity encounters and all that. Like,
That's true.
I see what he's saying. He goes on a journey and and that stuff.
Yeah, imagine Beau being around Nixon. That'd be weird.
Imagine seeing his balls with that dick. Oh.
Oh shit! Oh. Yeah, boy. That was a great. I love that fucking softball, and I'm so glad. I had no idea I was doing it, but I love that you fucking just David Ortiz that
Boom,
shit.
right over the fucking monster.
Over the monster, taking a yard.
Still
the juicer on. You're still on the gas from.
I was on
bronchitis.
I was on steroids from bronchitis. Yeah.
Fucking Bash Brothers.
Yeah. Oh shit. There was something else I was gonna say. Let's see. Oh, he says it's about the mothers too. I actually forget. I haven't seen Forrest Gump in a while, so I forget the sort of mother bit.
Yeah, no. Sally Field was kind of fucking.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She fucked that dude. It was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Johnny. All right. Next up, let's hear from
Carlitos. Hey, Trick or Treat Radio, it's Carlitos. How you guys doing? Excuse me.
Good, buddy.
Anyway, last week, you guys, during your guys' review of The Blackening, you guys were talking about the horror trope of the black guy always dies first. Going off the movie poster tagline, "You can't all die first" for The Blackening, and I heard that trope before, and it was always one that always left me a bit confused and made me think about. And actually, I would actually think about, are there really any horror films out there where the black guy dies first? Because of all the ones I've seen and remember, it's been quite the opposite. He usually either lasts till the end, or close to the end, or survive altogether. And you guys are trying to come up with examples, and I understand you guys are doing a podcast, just it's kind of hard to come up with stuff on the top of your head. Heck, it's hard for me to come up with something to say when I call in with you guys, to you guys. See what I mean? I'm stumbling over my words, but I thought I'd give you my own set of examples.
Yeah, awesome.
That I can remember off the top of my head. So here's some. First is you guys already said night, but also dawn and day. The black male characters in those films survived all the way till the end. Also, John Carpenter's The Thing. At the end, Child's character shows right up. Presumably he survived, or did he?
Boom, boom, boom.
And even before that, the character Knowles, the cook, the one with the skates, he was the last one to die before them two. And then another one is Leviathan, Ernie Hudson's character. He survives towards the end. He bites it at the end, but he almost escapes. What else? At least in a slasher film setting, Friday 13th Part 8.
Yeah.
The boxer guy, he at least made it to Manhattan.
Yeah, true.
We all know after watching that movie that the only Manhattan part's towards the end. So there's that one. I can't think. To be honest, I can't really think of any other black character in the Friday 13th franchise. So I don't know if there's any more or not, other than him. I would like to think so, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
I know.
Oh gosh, what else? There's only a couple I could think of, but they're not really straight up horror, make horror adjacent. Aliens, Apalm and Frost, the Marine characters, they bought it pretty early. In fact, I think they were the first to die, to be honest. And the Leviathan counterpart, Deep Star 6. There was a black... I just seen that recently, so there was a black character, and I believe he died early. He might have been the first too, but other than that, there ain't too many, and there's many more examples of where black character survives. More recent example I just remembered was the House on Haunted Hill remake. So there's another one. So I thought I just brought that up. I haven't actually seen The Blackening yet, but I actually plan to this weekend because I actually do really want to see it. It looks really good. Yeah. So before even you guys' review, I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I'm definitely going to check it out. There's still a lot of movies I need to check out. I still got to watch Pearl. I still want to see Sisu.
Yeah.
Bro.
So, that's it. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I hope you are staying cool out there because it's hot as hell over here. So, practically everywhere else, to be honest. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see myself out. Bye.
Yeah, boy.
All right, Carlitos.
Such a brother.
So, and there's some great examples. I know so last week when we were talking about it, I was thinking in terms of that survived through the entire movie, like lived at the end.
Yeah.
Like made it out.
And just before MZ jumps in, I want to hear MZ's part on this because I wanted to get into this before MZ had some tech issues. But I always thought that was kind of maybe a Mandela effect, where that wasn't really true that the black character died. First of all, in the 80s, you didn't have a lot of black characters in pictures. In my knowledge, it was always whoever fucked, smoked, drank first. So I thought that was kind of more of an urban legend. Like every red shirt that died in Star Trek was a fucking wasp. You know what I mean? Not Janet Van Dyne, but a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. But maybe MZ. Are you with that? Like, I don't think that. I think that's kind of a fake thing.
Well, actually, it's interesting. So, sorry to jump on. I know you just asked MZ, but I want to just say it's interesting that you brought that up because what I'm looking at right here, it says, generally it is believed that minority characters are the first victims in horror films. However, this purported trope has been disputed. Complex, I think is a site, compiled a survey of 50 horror films starring black actors. Only in 5 of these, 10% did a black character die first. So, I mean, I'm just reading something from Wikipedia right now. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing any sort of research. But I think it was in the 80s. See, this says where a black character stars. But I think that there is movies in the 80s especially where it was almost like they were filling a quota. You know, like, let's have a black actor. You know, we'll just kill him off first or something like that. Like, I do know I've seen films like that. So it wouldn't be the star. But I think you're right, though. I think that it is sort of one of those things that I don't think it's exactly the Mandela effect, but I think that it may happen less than we think, or it does happen less than we think.
It's a funny joke. It's a funny trope. But I know MZ obviously is the man, you know, with the plan on that. But I mean, but sometimes that big horror trope is killing off the more powerful characters. But once again, we're talking too much. MZ, please, pull your shit out.
There's the if I remember the year correctly, I think it's 1972. There's Don't Go in the Basement. There's a black character that survives throughout the film. He brought up Friday the 13th.
Yep.
Reggie from Part 5 survives at the end of Friday the 13th Part 5. Shafar Ross's character. Also, there's a character, what's his name? Roger. His name's Roger. And he survives at the end of Night of the Demons.
Oh yeah, I think you might have mentioned that one last week. Oh no, I'm sorry. Demons 2, I think you mentioned. Never mind.
Demons 2? No.
No? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Okay, go ahead.
No. But Night of the Demons, a black character survives throughout the film, Roger. That's off the top of my head for right now. I'm certain there are others. But that's... Kelly Minter, actress, Kelly Jo Minter. I forget the character that she plays. She survives A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. She's the same one who has the dyslexia and can't drive in summer school.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, she survived.
Shoot.
As she should. She's awesome.
Yeah.
That's it for right now.
It is interesting, and the blackening, the movie, what it plays with stereotypes and tropes in embracing ones that are true and ones that aren't true. So that could have been one of those things that they knew going in was one of those sort of stereotypes that, from a certain point of view could be true and maybe not.
Right.
So it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's an interesting discussion, and I think it was some good ones that Carlitos brought up. So yeah, I mean, because I was thinking of it in terms of black characters that survive throughout the entirety of the movie, but the poster, posits we can't all die first, meaning the black character always dies first, which as we know isn't true, or not always. It is sometimes, but it's one of those things that may be a little bit more of a bit of a Mandela effect, So
now, as far as characters that do die first, the first thing the first movie that comes to my mind is Scream 2, where Jada Pinkett and her boyfriend, their characters, they die in the bathroom at the movie theater.
Yeah, that's right.
Going to see Stab. They're the first ones to die, and they even make a note of the fact that black people die first in horror movies all the time. So some irony for you.
Yeah. So it's I think it's one of those things that would require some research to see, and it looks like some sites have already done a little bit of research on it. But it's one of those things. A horror movie trope that has some truth to it, but maybe is something that became a bit more of a trope than it actually is true.
Right.
So, all right, Kelly Jo Minter. I didn't think I'd hear her name.
The great Kelly Jo Minter.
All right. Well, let me just double check. I think that's it for voice messages.
Buddy. Shush.
Ollie is running amok.
He just I don't think he likes the format change.
No, he doesn't like the setup. You got to get a place for him to sit near you.
He needs a blanket. He needs
Put him up on the bar. Get him a little bed on the bar.
Yeah, bed on the bar. Yeah. I've had a few of those nights.
All right, cool. I think that's it. So let's say our goodbyes, because next week we got a big show. You guys need to rest up. Ollie's gonna fucking run amok and make Raven chat. Oh, there goes the headset. All right, let's get out of here. MZ, go ahead and take us out. All right. Raven Shadow, now is your turn, Raven Shadow. Say goodbye.
Live fast, love hard, survive with the mask on.
All right. So that was going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And next week we got the big 11-year anniversary. And as mentioned, we got a lot of stuff planned. Check out Sharksploitation on Shudder, and then tell us what you think. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com. We'll be joined by Steven Scarlatta next week, and then we're going to do a table read for select scenes from Weird Science. That should be interesting. Keep an eye out for Patreon supporters. Keep an eye out. We're going to put out a casting call for you because we're going to need some people to play some roles. So keep an eye on that. And then we'll also have we'll release the sort of schedule for next weekend. For the anniversary weekend, we'll have some other stuff going on, the blackout tapes and some other stuff. So thank you guys so much, and come back next week. And also make sure to send in those sitcoms and horror movies to us so that we can add them to the game. All right. See you guys next week.